X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who spit facts online all the time. Can you see it? All the ones who drag my name every single day. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? They keep saying you don't have what it takes to carve out your own name underneath the shadows of gods. And I keep waiting for the day disbelievers say I flew way too close to the sun. I wait, but it never really comes. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A voice that compels all to rebel from all right shackled minds. Why do they just stand there against when they fall from the battles I have overcome? You feel it, feel the cope and the seething tone that they make while I stand up, man among gods. And I keep thinking with my mill, shooting ropes in my cold that faces towards the sun. They hate, but I'm sitting comfy with their mom. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A voice that compels all to rebel from all that shackled mind. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A voice that compels all to rebel from all right shackled minds. It's you and me, your mom, it's me. I'll take another hit from my babe. You've seen now, watch me right now, punch your face now. Let me show you how.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are all having a good day today. What's going on, Gumdrop Cat, Bruh.mwmv, Cleaver120, good to see you. Shoten LLC, what's going on with you? Danshare, good to see you in chat. Zoomy Dog, what's up? Leftist Redneck, how are you? Delancer, how are you doing? Little Morphine Annie, good to see you. Trans Daughter of Water in chat as always, how are you doing? It's great to see all of you guys here today. What's up? Let me take a sippy. Alright. Welcome, guys. I hope you're all having good days. Every single one of you. Just survived a headache. I'm glad it's gone now. I'm a little sleepy, but I've been up since like 5:40 a.m., so Lamau. Well, I am a little tired as well, but I got much more sleep and much better sleep than you did by the sound of things. Hopefully I can ask my mom to put money in my Cash App to buy Minecraft tomorrow. You need $26.95. None of you are going to get that reference, but hopefully you can get some money for Minecraft, Cleaver120. That's funny. Just sleep. Hey Zan, there is a FF14 meme of the dragon. A dragoon job is the MILF hunter job? Wait, really? Unironically? Hold on. Is this like unironically like... Okay, I just selected a player whose name is MILF Hunter with 2 L's. And they're a level 60 gunbreaker last time they played. That's funny. Hold on. I don't see any memes about it. Yeah, there's nothing here about Dragoons being MILF hunters. I do not understand. What do you mean? I see Cleaver 120, yeah. I get that. Also, I just found out we can now right-click people on website chat, Zan. Oh yeah, it's super cool. It's really nice. It actually allows you to, like, not have to type a ban or a mute into the chat, which I much prefer. I was gonna mention something. Oh yeah, make sure if you're buying Minecraft for this, you buy Java Edition and not Bedrock Edition. Bedrock Edition is different from Java Edition. We are on Java Edition. Make sure you get Java Edition. Also, Java Edition is better. Joe Carp Sky Defa 14 started the meme. I'll look into this deep lore. But yeah, I play a Dragoon, so how fitting that they are the MILF Hunter class. That's hilarious. Gotta be a Dragooner. Alright. Guys, I want to tell you about some cool stuff. In the next 2 days, alright, I am going to be starting my Tropicraft modded Zancation server. It's open to you guys. There will be other YouTubers joining. It's going to be freaking awesome. It's going to be epic. It's going to be dope. The Discord server is going to be getting made tonight. I'm going to show it in my Discord server in the announcement, so make sure you're in my Discord. And I'm also going to be posting it... God, my hair's all fucked up. I'm also going to be posting it on stream tomorrow. So make sure you are here tomorrow or in my Discord in order to join the Discord server for the server. This is so confusing. For the Minecraft server, because you have to be able to join that to get whitelisted to join the Minecraft server. So yeah. Other than that, I watched a Zan VOD from 2 days ago, and I got rightoid triggered over the idea of you theoretically having infinite wealth and not buying Nintendo console. They built the foundation of gaming we stand on. How dare you? 40 years of excellence, too, in terms of video games. And I got rightoid triggered over the idea of you theoretically having infinite wealth and not buying Nintendo consoles. Dog, I don't have anywhere near infinite wealth, okay? I live... Thanks to you guys' more recent support, I finally don't live paycheck to paycheck. Like, I actually have savings now, but it's nothing to scoff at. As a matter of fact, well, actually, it's a lot to scoff at. You would be like, ugh, that's your savings, dude? Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly wealthy, is all I'm saying. I'm not broke, though, so that's nice. Oh, is a hypothetical I brought up? I don't remember the video. I don't think you guys understand. I forget everything I said in the previous stream as soon as I hit stop stream. I think it was you saying if you won a lottery ticket, you'd buy all of just PlayStation and Xbox stuff. Oh, like if I had all the money in the world. Yeah. I remember when I did the mansion tour. Yeah, I remember that. Matter of fact, while we wait for people to come in and we let stream get kind of ramped up and everything, we should watch another mansion tour video. I really like these. Let's find one that looks dope. The most expensive house in Hawaii. Bro. Okay. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Okay, everybody. It is once again time for us to look on in seething jealousy at people far more fortunate than us. People born, no doubt, far more fortunate than us, and far more fortunate than anything we'll ever be able to acquire reasonably in our lifetimes. In the house department, that is to say. You see, I'm really into watching these big mansion tours on YouTube, particularly ones in like tropical environments. I'm just a big fan of these, and there's actually a surprisingly small amount of tropical like beach house tours on YouTube, and that kind of surprises me because you'd think that would be a really big market for house tour content, right? Now, usually when we watch these, like, all right, this is a rich person, or this is like a YouTuber touring some absurdly rich person's house videos, I'm always like, oh my god, look how horrific this looks. The style is awful. It's too big. It's super, like, empty feeling. It feels like a shopping mall. But with these houses, I'm more jealous than I am disgusted by the unnecessary, gaudiness of it. Because here, the cost is mostly in the location. So usually it's a somewhat modest, quote-unquote, mansion in a really beautiful location. And so let's go ahead and marvel at how the top 1%, the 1% of the 1% live. This is inside the most expensive house in Hawaii. Look at that water. God
Thanks
damn!
for sponsoring a portion of this video.
Maui. Okay, chat. Isn't it like unethical to vacation in Hawaii or something? Like I've seen lefties say that like indigenous people don't even want people to vacation to Hawaii. Yeah? God, that fucking sucks. Hi, Veiny Wombat. That really sucks because it's so goddamn beautiful. Yeah, it's not great. Yeah, the tourism industry is no doubt like just fucking them over though. They've got every right to be upset. Like they like if you're like an indigenous Hawaiian and you're there's probably a million ways in which you're getting fucked over by tourism, but there's also probably some ways in which tourism is helping. The economy is probably, in large part funded entirely by tourism. Not really? Nah, yeah, who knows? Fishing could probably be a bigger industry. I actually don't know that much. Really, all I know about Hawaii is that it's just goddamn beautiful, and I've always wanted to go there, but then I found out that it's, like, morally dubious to do so, and it's like, maybe I'll just go to, like, the Bahamas. The Bahamas seem to want tourists.
Everyone, welcome to another episode. This week we're touring the stunning 9.9-acre estate located on Havea Point within the famed Kapalua Resort here in Maui. This home features 7 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms.
Oh my, okay. All right, I'm not gonna lie. This is kind of my style. It's a little minimalist with like this shelf here. Like it feels like they went a little overboard, but like this isn't too bad. Like I could live in this.
For $41.9 million, and with that asking...
It's not even that big either. Most of its floor space looks like it's in the pool deck and this little courtyard. Like, it's not this... I mean, it actually sprawls out a lot, but it's like... It doesn't feel like one of those giant shopping mall houses, you know?
Price, it is the most expensive home for sale in the state of Hawaii. I want to give big thanks to the listing agents, Tyler Kuhn and Andrea Dunn, for making this tour possible. And now, let's begin our tour.
Rich people fucking love infinity pools, huh? What is it with rich people and infinity pools? I would take an Olympic-sized meter pool over an infinity pool any day. I want to be able to actually swim legit laps in my pool or throw, like, insanely huge pool parties. I would take a bigger pool over a stupid, like, I don't care about infinity pools. They're just so, I hate them. I genuinely don't like them. Zan's starting the server in 2 days, right? Yeah, I am. There will be no infinity pool in my house in the Tropicraft server. Rich people can't swim, it's true. Not false. Oh my, that is beautiful. Okay. Okay. The wood and just the general, like, color choice of this place, top notch. White and blue on the outside, and then a very contemporary, like, eggshell white with, like, light brown woods throughout. It's just, that is my vibe, okay? This is my goddamn vibe. Finally, a rich person who actually has an eye for decent style in what they live in. That looks like the Gus Fring pool where his... Yeah. God.
This property is situated on this
I like how they're... Yeah.
9.9 acre lot.
They're just casually sitting on a peninsula, dude. Like, literally everywhere you look in all directions but one, there is ocean.
On the street level, we have the gates opening up to a private driveway, and that private driveway brings you to this point where we have the motor court. Driveway is nicely lined with palm trees, beautiful landscaping, and right in the center of this motor court, we have this grass section with a water feature. This water feature is also
an
your
actual
koi pond,
functional koi
cool,
pond.
and the layout of this property is really unique. So on my right-hand side, we have
it's like a hotel. You pull up under this thing like you're getting out to check in at a hotel.
an exterior hallway, and that hallway opens up to 4 guest rooms that we will see later.
It is a hotel.
On my left-hand side, we have these French doors opening up to the gym. It comes with a stationary bike, treadmill.
Wait, this is just a
weights,
hotel.
and you can access this gym through the French doors here or through the 3-car garage, which is on the left-hand side. We have stucco on the exterior, Fleetwood glass doors and windows, this custom green tile roof throughout, and with the palm trees, this driveway, landscaping. This entry sets a great tone for the rest of the property. Arman is behind the camera today. It's his first time in Hawaii. Arman, what do you think so far?
This is my first time in Hawaii, and I'm super excited because of the house is incredible.
House is incredible, views are stunning. I used to come Maui all the time when I was a professional windsurfer, so this episode is a little bit more special. And yes, Arman, I'm also very excited for this tour. Let's continue. Now, right in front of me, we have the covered section. This is a great feature. You can park your car here, especially when it's raining. That way you can stay dry. Take these steps, open these glass double doors to access your central courtyard. This is a phenomenal space with a water feature right in the center. This water feature...
That is so nice. I can imagine like grilling on that patio and like having a deck party type thing. Dog. That's the dream. Listen, we all hate rich people. Okay? We all hate rich people. That's not like anything that's up for dispute right now. However, we extra hate rich people who use their wealth to buy like the worst looking shit ever. So it's nice to be able to actually appreciate a rich person using their wealth to buy or create or show off something that's actually cool to see as someone who otherwise would never get to see something like this, you know? Even I hate rich people. Okay. To some varying degree, you hate the concept of wealth as it exists today, and oftentimes rich people tend to be assholes, so, you know.
It's also your fire feature. We have outdoor seating areas throughout. On each corner, we have these built-in umbrellas, which complements the outdoor seating areas. You can see all these exterior hallways that connect all the rooms to each other. And on each corner, we also have these openings with glass screens, allowing more natural air to come into the courtyard. And
I've never been a big fan of those. Those are pretty popular in Florida, but horizontally, and I never liked them because you use a hand crank to like turn them, and oftentimes the hand crank will just break, and then you've just either got them like stuck closed or shut or open, and you have to like manually close them, and then they just kind of like get covered in algae and moss and become like not even a window anymore.
improve the airflow here. Now, on the right-hand side, we have the guest house. Right in front of me, we have the entertainment room. Behind me, on the left, we have a powder room for the courtyard that comes with 2 sinks. Right here, we have a door opening up to the steam room, and this is a great private space for you to enjoy.
There's no moral way to become rich. I don't care if they're super nice about it afterwards or if they have good style. What about being born to rich parents and then inheriting their wealth? Because that's where most rich people come from, is from inheriting their rich parents' wealth, because generational wealth. Most rich people actually haven't done horrific things to acquire their wealth, but they've done horrific things to either keep it or grow it or whatever. But as insofar as like being rich, most rich people became rich initially by inheriting their parents' wealth. Most rich people do not go from being nobodies to rich themselves. Yeah, I don't think generational wealth is moral either. Sure, in our current system where there exists such severe wealth disparity, that's true. But I don't think the concept of owning things and being able to pass that ownership on to a trusted, like, loved one or friend or family member after your death is a bad thing, and that includes, like, money. The issue here, though, is that, like, I don't even have a problem with rich people existing with lives like this. The problem is that while there are people living lives like this on the other side of the world, or hell, not even on the other side of the world, maybe even just a few miles away, there's somebody sifting through a trash can to find their next meal. So it's like, that's the problem.
Throw parties, entertain. And lastly, we have this wing here. Now, on the right-hand side, we have the primary bedroom. On the left-hand side, we have the hallway, taking us to the 4 guest rooms that we will see in a bit. And lastly, we have these
look at that roof,
pivot doors opening up.
Look at the ceiling. Oh my God! Once again, this is Hawaii, so there better be god-tier, super rich people AC in here to, you know, accommodate this massively vaulted ceiling and how much extra airspace that adds. But like, that is beautiful. I'm not a big fan of the choice of furniture. I would probably go with some slightly more, like, I would go with either like a gray couch or a black couch, because that's more my style. But I mean, I don't mind it. I don't want to nitpick too hard. Like, I think it fits the overall aesthetic pretty well.
Now, this is without a doubt one of my favorite rooms in this house. Vaulted ceilings, great volume. God,
look at all those windows.
Open
oh
up
my
this
God!
Entire room to the outdoors. Your infinity
oh my
edge
God!
Pool, Namalu Bay right in front of us.
Look at all the
Stunning
speakers.
views. And these 2 columns allow.
These speakers that you see lining every like corner of this room are for when you have a party, so that there's sound coming from every direction in the party. For the music. That's wild.
The front to be totally open. You can even open up the sides and really connect this room to the outdoors. I love the wood-clad ceilings, ceiling fan right in the center. And first, let's talk about the seating area here. Sectional leather couch, 2 chairs, TVs on this side with built-in speakers. Right in the center, we have this really unique.
That feels like such a small TV for what they have, you know? Like, they should have one of those laser TVs that turns the entire wall into a giant TV.
Coffee table. And Armand, can we get a close-up? There's a stainless steel bowl that is constantly moving. Inside the layer of this table.
I've seen these. I fucking want one so bad. It's programmed to like create different patterns on a loop. Yeah, it's a short throw projector.
This old sand, and it just creates this beautiful pattern. Once it's done with the pattern, it waits for like 30 minutes, and then it starts another pattern, which is super cool. I've never seen a piece of furniture like this before. If anybody knows the brand,
that's got to cost like $200,000.
Behind Armand, we have a door opening up to a powder room for this level. Small seating area here, another seating area on this side with a coffee table right in the center. Wood-clad ceilings give ton of warmth to the space, and right in the center we have the dining area.
It's really windy in there,
with a metal frame and legs. These chairs look so modern.
Looks like it creates a good air current.
Located right in the center of the great room, and it complements your kitchen, which is on this side.
Keeps it cool.
This portion of the video is sponsored by Lore Coffee. Before we continue our tour of this property, I want to talk about something.
Are you fucking real, dude? Oh my God, it's a long sponsor segment. All right, let's see the kitchen.
The beautiful kitchen. More of these warm wood tones with the cabinetry. Right in the center, we have the island with a resin countertop. bar stools that look very contemporary.
Oh my God, yeah,
nice
the
seating
layers
area
of
here.
resin
Then we have
glass.
the first set of built-ins on this side. Microwave, oven, your paneled freezer and fridge is located here. Your base cabinets, marble countertop, and they use the same marble as a backsplash here. Thermidor gas cooktop.
That is a
vent above,
really nice
upper
kitchen.
cabinets, and we have this sink right here. There's a nice casement window right in front of it. That way you can enjoy the ocean views from your kitchen. Same vaulted ceiling design is also here, clad with this beautiful wood.
I like how this is literally the most expensive house in all of Hawaii, and it's not even that insanely nice of a mansion compared to what you'll see, like, in a mansion tour in, say, like, Florida. Most of the value of this place is the location. Like, probably 40 to 60% of the cost of this place is the location.
Tone, cove lighting to cozy up the space, and that's pretty much it for your kitchen. It's nice and open, and it's part of your great room. Now, Armand, let's take everybody this way. We talked about these smaller seating areas, fully with sliding glass doors open up, seamless transition. By the way, all the furniture is included with the sale of this
I like islands in my kitchen. I like having a kitchen island. They're nice.
property. And here we are at
You are 100% wrong. There's no way most of the value of this isn't in the location.
backyard. Now this backyard is stunning. Same
Not
traffic
most,
team
but
continues
a
to the
good
exterior.
chunk.
We have two water features that overflow to each other and then to the infinity edge pool. Armand, why don't we go this way?
I
we
like
can
what they
talk
did
about
with
the
the.
outdoor
I like what they did with the tile. It reminds me of the rainbow fish. That one kid's book you'd read where it's like all the different colored scales in the fish, and it has that one scale that's all like sparkly. It reminds me of the rainbow fish scale pattern with the bottom of the pool's like tiling.
kitchen here. First bar seating on this side, second bar seating on my left, marble countertops. Right in the center, we have the wolf gas grill, sink, and this is a great space that complements your backyard.
Goldfish
now,
are
let's
koi,
talk
I
about
think,
the
yeah.
pool setup. It looks stunning.
That's
Mosaic
cool.
clad throughout. Baja shelf and the jacuzzi
That's so
is on the
cool.
left-hand side.
I love that pattern.
Infinity edge. These views are breathtaking. I mean, this is gorgeous. Namalua Bay right in front of us. Kapalua Bay right next to that.
Look at that beach.
The island on our right-hand side is Molokai, and the island that is right in front of us is Lanai. These views are breathtaking. You have the ocean right in front of you.
We're going to be in this in Minecraft in a couple days. To give you an idea, Xanderhall, in order to create large unsupported spaces, you need steel and concrete. I'm a cement mason. That shit is super expensive. You need a crane to put in most of the framing. It'd be intensely expensive. Oh yeah, I didn't really account for the materials. You're probably right. But the location's got to be, like, a decent chunk when you consider the fact that, like, it's on a peninsula in the middle of, like, crystal clear water, perfect swimming area, and, like, a big open lawn and a lot of space.
It constantly moves and changes, and this is such a relaxing view. I mean, I love
How
this
much
place.
is the house?
Yep.
The most expensive house in all of Hawaii.
Palm trees on each side, travertine around your pool, lounging areas, built-in umbrellas. This backyard setup is stunning. Now, I want to take everybody this way so we can talk about the grounds. Havea Point is the name of the peninsula, or this promontory.
Yeah, you see what I mean? This is why I say I think a lot of the value, yeah, at least 68% of yeah, so now Crafter Lula agrees, yeah, at least 60% of this is of the cost of this is the land. Yeah, look at that. This is literally a rock beach, like a cliff jumping spot, by the looks of things. People seem to be climbing out to this area to cliff jump.
That we're situated on. It's this natural rock formation. Because of our elevation, the views we get are simply stunning. You have a small walkway here that takes you to a gate, and that gate is your private beach
God,
access.
it's beautiful.
This beach is known for
look at him
snorkeling and
cliff
cliff
jumping.
diving. Our grounds are fantastic. We're situated on 9.
In Florida, we didn't have cliffs, so we jumped out of trees. You'd go to like a spring or a really crystal clear spring-fed river, and you would climb up a cypress tree that somebody like 30 years ago nailed some planks of wood into the side of to create like a makeshift ladder. And you know, you climb that shit. It's rickety, it's rotted, it's soggy, and you get to the top, and there's a lot of people watching, and you jump because if you pussy out, then everybody's gonna make fun of you, and you hope to God that like there's not a branch that's about to like break your leg or impale you when you dive in. You know, I never got hurt, but people have gotten hurt. That's for sure.
9 acres, and it's all to yourself. You don't have any neighbors. And this is really what you're paying for. I mean, this is the most expensive home currently on the market in the state of Hawaii. But this peninsula, this setting, the privacy, the home itself is such a unique offering. And that's really what you're paying for. Now let's turn back so we can talk about the house itself.
Nice.
Single story home, sliding glass doors, open up to the outdoors. That's the great room right there.
To be fair though, this space that's all just big green lawn would be so much better if it was all like bulldozed and not bulldozed, but like turned into a giant garden. Like imagine if it was like stepping stones and then like very narrow walkways surrounded entirely by extremely lush vegetation, and that was this entire lawn. It would cool the entire area down immensely, attract a ton of wildlife, and it would be very pretty. My grandma had a friend when my grandma was alive and I was very little. She took me to a friend of hers house who had a pretty large backyard. She had turned the backyard into practically a tropical jungle. It was dense. Like you had to walk this little like rock footpath that would like take you around twists and turns of thick bamboo and like lush like leaves and everything. And then you would finally like get to the center of the backyard after like maybe 2 minutes of like winding through this maze, and there would be this nice above ground pool just surrounded by it. It was like that is the closest to a tropical vacation I've ever been on, but that was some of the nicest landscaping I'd ever seen. If you scaled that up to the size of all of this land, it would be insane. That would be a good way to increase the property value of this place for resale.
I really like this green tile roof, which helps it blend with the landscaping around. And this section here is where we have the guest suites. In total, we have 4 bedrooms here.
That's like, unironically, if I was wealthy enough and I wanted to create like a YouTuber house, this would not be a bad idea, because these guest suites are all like their own little individual apartments. Like, this would not be bad for doing like a YouTuber house or a streamer house type thing.
I'm going to start our tour with this one. Small patio space, outdoor shower shared by the guest room on the other side. We have Fleetwood sliding glass doors opening up, seamless transition. We have the king size bed here. I love this modern bed frame, 2 side tables, open bathroom design here right in the center. We have this freestanding tub with a built-in shelf around it, 2 sinks, beautiful vanity, and glass door opens up to your walk-in shower with a rain head, old travertine clad, massive TV in that here, dressing table, small desk setup, which is a really cool accessory, built-in closets. And I really like that these bedrooms or these guest suites open up to the grounds and to these views. They also have their own private entry with a lock, which means you can use these bedrooms as small hotel rooms. Now, we're back at the...
Those are totally getting rented out as Airbnbs by the owner.
This exterior hallway takes us to the second guest room, which starts here. It's pretty much the same layout. You have your open bathroom here with 2 sinks, glass enclosed walk-in shower, freestanding tub.
God damn.
Your bed is situated here.
I want to see the primary bedroom.
Seating area here, high ceilings,
oh my!
Throughout, plaster
Look at that.
Room has a very cozy feel. Then we have these Fleetwood sliding glass doors opening up to your grounds and to these breathtaking views. This set of sliding glass doors takes you to the backyard, out on the...
Sorry, but why are we watching a realtor show us a house none of us will ever be able to afford? Dude, it is so bizarre that I'll watch other like Twitch lefty streamers can like watch a random YouTube video like this and like their audience doesn't question it. Like it's fine. But you guys are in chat like wondering why we're watching. Like, is this not in the realm of like talking about politics? Like looking at the most expensive house in the state of Hawaii? Like, is it not relevant to look at like extremely rich people shit and talk about how this compares to the life of the vast majority of Americans? Plus, people like house reacts. Why are you complaining?
Distance, you can see the island of Molokai, and I'm going to talk more about these grounds in a bit. Now, this primary bedroom suite comes with 2 bathrooms. We have the first one here. This is your outdoor bathroom, but I want to start our tour with the indoor bathroom, which...
I'd like to see this person in prison and their assets seized and returned to the Hawaiian people. This guy's just a like house tour YouTuber. This guy just travels around the world, like, touring houses. This guy's not even the owner.
Starts here. Floating vanity with 2 sinks, natural stone countertop, mirror assembly here with 2 built-in medicine cabinets, and you have some additional plugs here.
I'm envious. That's the point.
Then, right where Armand is, we have a water closet with a stone wainscoting. Then on my left-hand side, we have the
Donate to me to own the rich people.
Walk-in shower. I really like this glass barn door. Travertine clad throughout for the most part. And on this wall, we have this book match backlit onyx stone, which looks stunning. Brush nickel fixtures, 2 rain heads. This door opens up to your outdoor shower that is facing the backyard. And lastly, we have the freestanding tub here. Brush nickel floor mount tub filler. We have sliding glass windows here, opening up to the views. We currently have this glass assembly clear, but with a push of a button, you can frost this glass for some additional privacy. Overall, beautiful bathroom, and it flows.
I love those. I hope that technology becomes like cheap and super accessible to everybody, and we can essentially replace curtains with that. I fucking hate curtains. I do. I hate curtains, and I hate blinds. I think they look awful. If I could literally press a button that would black out my windows at like when I don't want anything to come through. God, my throat is all itchy and dry. There we go. If I could just press a button that would black out my windows or frost them up, I would prefer that over curtains. I don't like curtains or blinds. I think they're ugly.
Straight to a walk-in closet, built-in cabinetry throughout for all your clothes. Right in the center, we have this massive safe. And continuing our tour, we're back at the entry of this primary bedroom. Now, I want to tour the second bathroom here, which is your outdoor bathroom. This space is so cool. Right above us, we have...
Look at that skylight. Oh my god, that is gorgeous, dude. Look at this bathroom.
This glass roof assembly, and below this glass roof assembly, we have these openings with screens, allowing natural air and natural light to come into this space. Then you have your Fleetwood sliding glass doors with seamless transition to the outdoors. Right in the center of this bathroom, we have this freestanding tub with a tub filler. Then your open showers on this side with 2 rain heads, onyx slab that creates a beautiful contrast against travertine walls. Your handheld is here. This glass enclosed section is your water closet. You have your toilet, modern pedestal sink, and lastly, I want to talk about this detail.
I like the little round
we
stone
mentioned it
floor.
At the courtyard. We have these openings with glass screens, allowing more natural air to come in. It helps with the airflow in the courtyard as well as...
This place probably doesn't even have AC and relies on airflow to cool it, I bet. I'm sure it does, but like there's just so much open shit. There's no way this place has AC.
This bathroom. Also, in case you're wondering about the privacy, you have a built-in shade here. You can close it off that way. No one can see you from this hallway. Now, that's pretty much it for this outdoor bathroom. Now I want to go outside so we can check out...
Yeah, especially in Hawaii, you can do a lot with airflow. It's right on the water, so it's probably actually fairly cool in that house.
The grounds on this side, 9.98
But you're not getting it down to like 62 degrees if that's what you like.
acres. You have this entire promontory all to yourself, no neighbors, beautiful grounds, breathtaking views. We have the island of Molokai on the distance, Honolulu Bay right behind me. I mean, it feels amazing to be here, and I feel like if I owned a property like this,
yeah,
I
you
would
guys
spend
are
the
right.
majority of
This
my time
giant
outside,
lawn is
hanging around in different parts of this backyard, drinking a coffee, reading a book, just enjoy being in Maui. It's also really windy today, so I'm going to do our best to protect our mic, but that's pretty much it for the grounds. Setting here is just stunning. Now, coming this way, we have this covered seating area. It actually leads us to the entertainment lounge.
That's
Two
fairly
glass
nice.
pivot doors here, and as we go in, we have the pool table on my right-hand side, chandelier above, vaulted
my,
ceilings,
this is cool.
full of lighting throughout. We have some built-in shelving here, small bar area with a fridge to complement the space. Then facing
This
back
is
to the
nice.
ocean, we have 2 massive
This is
picture windows,
absurdly
and in
nice.
front of these windows,
I
we
like
have
this
small
room a
seating
lot.
areas. Your sectional couch is located here, more light fixtures above, just a phenomenal space, and I feel like it's a great space to entertain, have friends over, throw parties, flow straight to the grounds. And as you guys can see, you can just open up these glass pivot doors, have great natural airflow. It just feels amazing to be here. Now, let's continue our tour. Back to the central courtyard. I'm gonna take this hallway here. By the way, on these walkways or in the central courtyard, we have outdoor speakers, built-in seating areas, ceiling mount planters. These French doors open up to the side of the property, and coming back here, picture window from the guest house, and we have these double doors opening up to the guest house itself.
A
This
guest
part of the house comes with
house?
2 bedrooms, this open seating dining area right in the center, and we
Wait,
have the
this is
kitchen
the
on
nicest
this side.
part.
I love the vaulted ceilings here that are wood
This is the
clad with wood
nicest
lighting.
part.
It just warms up the space and goes really well with the hardwood floors that we have throughout. Again, you have your dining area in the center, TV on this side. This is basically your little hangout area for these 2 bedrooms that we're gonna tour. Let's start with this bedroom. We have a pocket door here that seals it off. 2 bunk beds.
This is like literally a compound for like a bunch of people to live in. Not just one family. This is for several families to live in.
Built-in cabinetry here
God, my
with a
nose
desk
won't
set
stop
up right in
itching.
the center, facing these ocean views.
Oh yeah,
Double doors,
trans flag
open up to the
beds.
side of the property. Overall, good size guest bedroom, and this would be a phenomenal space for kids. Now, let's go back to the dining area so we can check out the second bedroom. It starts here. This one also comes with bunk beds, built-in cabinetry, another desk setup, picture window facing the courtyard. And I really like that they kept the wall in between these two bedrooms a little bit more lower. That way, natural light can travel throughout the space or throughout the guest house. Now, that's it for the bedrooms. I want to take everybody this way so we can check out this kitchen. They use the same wood tone cabinetry that we saw at the main kitchen. Also here, this is a phenomenal space, massive island right in the center, ton of cabinetry. Your 48-inch thermidor gas stove is located here. Dual elevation with the bar seating that opens up to your dining area, vent above. Windows on this side, your first sink, first dishwasher is here, and then we have the second sink and second dishwasher on the other side.
That's
you have a
dope.
massive
I'm starting to notice, though, there are buildings nearby, so it's not as remote in the area that it's in as I think a lot of the shots have made it look like. I'm noticing some, like, high-rises through that window there.
thermidor commercial fridge here, full-size wine fridge, vaulted ceilings above, again wood clad, and this house recently been through a major remodel, and this kitchen was part of that remodel as well. Overall,
yeah, it looks
beautiful
new.
space, and this kitchen is designed like a caterer's or chef's kitchen because you can access the courtyard from here, as well as the 3-car garage and the motor court. On top of that, on the back, we have a commercial pantry with multiple freezers. That way your chef, your caterers can come here, prepare the food, service the courtyard or the rest of the property.
Your chef.
Now,
Okay,
let's
dude.
continue our tour. We have a door here opening up to the laundry room.
I like how he's talking, like, he's making this video and talking to the audience of 1.2 million viewers as if they have a chef.
2 washers, 2 dryers, sink. We have plenty of cabinetry. Then we have another door that opens up the hallway, which then leads us to the 3-car garage. On the left-hand side, we have additional 3 washers and 3 dryers. So in total, you have 5 sets of washer and dryers, which is super cool. Considering the amount of bedrooms and rooms you have, these laundry machines come in handy. Now, let's
Yeah,
come
you can
here.
do a lot of
French doors
laundry at
opening up to the
once.
motor court. Then we have this door opening up to the commercial pantry. When I said commercial pantry,
Dog. You could just have an entire refrigerator that's the steak refrigerator. Then there could be the chicken refrigerator and the pork refrigerator and then the vegetable refrigerator and the fruit refrigerator and the snacks refrigerator. Dog. It's like a 7-Eleven like shelf where you grab your drinks off of, right? Like you grab a Monster off the shelf. Only it's a line of them that is your personal refrigerators. That is insane. If you want to be obese, how would that wouldn't make you obese? But okay.
I meant it. You have all
No, this is for like a personal chef to keep their ingredients in for when they cook for you. Like this is how wealthy people look so fit. It's because they've got personal chefs with fully stocked kitchens like this cooking for them for every meal.
these freezers and fridges. Then you have built-in cabinetry here, and check this out. Arma, can we get a close-up? These all pull out. That way you can
it's for, like,
utilize the
wine.
space all the way to the back very easily.
What is
And
up
it
with
just
my nose
complements
today?
the
God
guest
damn.
house kitchen. Wrapping around, it gets better. You have additional cabinetry here. Overall, this
It reminds me of that one SCP that's literally an itch that happens in whoever the sitting president of the United States is nose every single day. And if the president doesn't scratch his nose, and it happens when he's on live air, and if he doesn't itch it, then the world will blow up or something.
It's a phenomenal space that
an
complements
SCP.
the guest house
great.
kitchen. Now, let's open up this door so we can check out the side of the property where you can access the grounds. They have a small orchard here with avocado, orange, and banana trees, which is great since it's right next to your kitchen. grounds of this property is so beautiful. They maintain it so well. House itself is in a pristine condition, and I feel like someone can do a lot with
What
this
is an
property.
SCP?
They have approved plans for 10,000 square
You can't do that. You can't even joke about that.
foot addition and a pool cabana, which means someone can expand this property in the future. Overall, it feels amazing to be here, and I'm really glad we came all the way out to Maui to tour this property and share it with all of you.
God damn, that is so nice. I'm jealous. Every single day I'm reminded why rich people gotta go. Oh my lord. I am absurdly jealous. Remember guys, I'm still following through on that idea I pitched in the last rich people house tour video. Where I'm going to be sending out emails to the owners and like landlords and whatnot of very, very wealthy, not very, very wealthy, but like nice places and like tropical locations to see if I can get a free stay in exchange for a house tour video created by me and posted by me. Not enough trees, it's trash, not going to buy. Yeah, simply not buying it. For the only reason being, there's not enough trees. That's the only reason I'm not buying it. True. Real. Accurate. That was a good starter segment for the day, I feel. That was a nice, good little starting segment to help and, you know, just kind of lower us into the content for today. That was a good segment. What do you guys think? Marsquake, thank you for the tier 1 sub. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the $5. Very kind of you. Says rich people owned. Rich people be getting owned every goddamn day. We love it. This stream is where rich people get owned by you guys you know, donating to me. It's just how it works. You donate to me and a rich person gets owned. Thank you. I appreciate it. God, my eyes are having such a hard time not like going cross-eyed or defocusing on whatever I'm looking at on screen whenever I stream lately. And it's only when I'm live is the weird thing. Like, it stops immediately when I'm not live, but it's only when I'm live. It's so weird. Alright. Let's get the next segment ready. Wait, really? Did I close my topics? There we go. Okay. Beta Leafy, thank you for the $5 donation. That's very kind of you. Remember, guys, if you want to support the stream, you can do so in a variety of ways, but the easiest, completely free, and most effortless way to support me is by hitting the like button over on YouTube. Simply hitting that thumbs up button really does go a really long way. It helps the channel out a lot. It's completely free. It forces YouTube to push my content to more people, so I really do appreciate every single one of you who goes out of your way to hit that thumbs up. It really means a lot to me. But you can also go the extra mile and support me financially on my website, xanderhall.com/live, by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub, or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or Patreon. But no matter what, no matter how you support me, I really do appreciate it. So thank you for being here. Just being here is support. Xander Hall, the buy lighting, do you have it on when you're not streaming? Oh, I keep my RGB lights on 24/7, yeah. I like my room being lit up like that. I'm a gamer. That just be how it be, man. Zan, if you asked to tour Mar-a-Lago, you could say I did everything wrong and they invited me. Twitter will officially rebrand as X later today. Wait, is that real? Or are you memeing? That's real? Wait, no shot. No freaking shot. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. God. This might actually be the death knell for Twitter. Elon Musk says Twitter will change its logo to X. That's hilarious, by the way, because an X is also my logo. And as it turns out, I was banned by a human person at Twitter who made the conscious decision to permaban me from Twitter for telling that lolicon Nazi pedo to kill themselves in Minecraft. Elon Musk says Twitter will change its logo to X. Billionaire owner says he will soon bid adieu to the company's brand and all the birds. The funny thing is, prior to Twitter coming out, or like prior to Twitter being bought by Elon Musk, like Twitter like adamantly claimed that the logo wasn't a bird. Like unironically, Twitter actually claimed prior to Elon Musk buying it that the logo wasn't a bird. I only know about that because of the Super Best Friends podcast. Here, I'll show you how I know that. One moment. Hold on, I think this is the point.
Before it settles down, flaps its wings once and goes into a side profile
of
and,
that pose
and tucks its wings.
Oh, yeah.
And stays suspended for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
And is like, look, Twitter.
Yeah. But I know for a fact because I saw that there's a leak of Twitter brand things, and Twitter's like, don't fucking anthropomorphize our logo.
Well, it's too late
It's
now.
not a bird.
What?
It's not a bird.
It's not a bird?
Twitter's logo, they're like, this is not a bird. This is the logo for Twitter. That's all that is.
Fucking bird!
They said it's not a bird.
I'm looking at a bird. You said tweet.
No. They said it's not a bird.
That's fucking stupid.
Don't put it in situations that make people think it's a bird. Don't put it on.
Ride the Twitter to the
Don't
text
add
app.
faces. Don't add little sound effects. Don't point at it to make it sound like it's chirping.
That's out of
Don't put it
control.
on a line.
That's out of control.
Don't imply that it's flying through the sky because it's not a fucking bird. It's the logo for Twitter.
They break every single one of those fucking rules.
I just find that funny, okay? I thought we needed to give that a little bit of a send-off, considering that the Twitter logo is about to get axed. Elon Musk said he was about to take one of the most... Okay, so, by the way, I feel like half the reason why people even click on Twitter, open it up, and check it is because they see the Twitter logo, and they look at it on their phone or their desktop or whatever it might be, and have like a ingrained, like mentally driven reaction to click it, to doom scroll. Elon Musk is getting rid of that. Elon Musk said he was about to make one of the most visible changes to Twitter since he took control of the social media company last fall, replacing its widely recognized bird logo. It's not a bird. In a tweet early Sunday morning Eastern Time, Mr. Musk said that soon we shall bid adieu to the Twitter brand and gradually all the birds. He added shortly after, if a good enough X logo is posted tonight, it would go live worldwide tomorrow. Wait, are you guys serious? He's asking random people to post X logos and replies? Oh my god, you guys need to go spam my logo. You guys need to go spam my logo now. You guys need to go spam my X logo right now. I need all of you to go into Elon's replies for this and spam my X logo. If you guys can get the new Twitter logo to be my fucking logo, that would go so hard. He's literally just polling random people in the replies to make the new logo. X is a term for what Mr. Musk has described as an everything app that could combine social media, instant messaging, and payment services akin to the popular Chinese app WeChat. Oh my god, he's actually just tanking Twitter. Mr. Musk has said that buying Twitter is an accelerant to creating X, and the corporate entity he created to purchase and control Twitter is called X Holdings. Mr. Musk spoke on Twitter in audio live stream early Sunday to say he was changing Twitter's logo. It should have been done a long time ago, he said. Sorry it took so long. Why? It's one of the most, it's fine. A few hours later, Mr. Musk said in an email to Twitter's employees that we are indeed changing to X, and that is what it was happening today. This is my message from a Twitter email, he wrote before signing off with a salute emoji. Mr. Musk has few barriers to making such alterations at the company after taking it private as part of his acquisition of the firm, but he could still encounter resistance from the banks that have lent him billions of dollars and the private investors he brought into the deal, who could raise concerns about jettisoning one of Twitter's most visible assets. The company saw its advertising revenue plummet amid the departure of sales executives and worries that the site has become more prone to problematic content. It now faces a well-funded rival in Threads, the recently introduced Twitter-like service from Meta, the owner of Facebook. Twitter did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Mr. Musk has had a long affinity for the letter X. Wait, are you actually kidding me? Is this fucking real? Is this why Elon Musk hasn't, had a person specifically ban me? Because my Twitter ban is a permanent ban that was done by an actual person at Twitter, not by a bot system or by, auto response to reports. Could it be that, my X branding and my opposition to Elon Musk and Twitter as a company is why I was so harshly penalized? Is that there's no fucking way. What is this coincidence otherwise? Mr. Musk has had a long affinity for the letter X. In 1999, the year I was born, he co-founded X.com, an online bank, and later merged it with another startup to create PayPal. In 2017, he said that he repurchased the X.com domain from PayPal. Mr. Musk has not always followed through on his public pronouncements, such as when he tweeted that the company would create a content moderation council to judge what kind of speech is acceptable on the site. Well, that was just a virtue signal. But he has pressed ahead in altering certain Twitter practices, like ending the free verification of prominent users' accounts, denoted by a white and blue checkmark, and charging users a subscription fee for the checkmark instead. It is so over for Twitter, dude. On top of the rate limiting, it's to give you guys an idea. I am banned from Twitter, which meant before this update, I was able to see, I was able to see my own tweets and other people's tweets. I just couldn't interact with anything. It was like I was a ghost on Twitter, right? Which was fine, because I could still cover stuff happening on Twitter and whatnot. But now that I'm banned, specifically me, this isn't true of other people who are suspended, I am permanently rate limited. I can't see my own tweets. I can't see other people's tweets. If you give me a link to a tweet, if I click it, it will not load. I can't even make an account anymore, Lamau. Yeah, I probably couldn't make one if I tried. I've sent over 100 requests to get my account unbanned, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And I honestly don't want to pull a bad empanada and just make a bunch of alt accounts and a website that's falling off anyway, you know? It's true that Twitter still has that level of, you have to contact YouTube through Twitter in order to get your shit fixed, for example, right? If you get a false strike, stuff like that is still a thing. But insofar as what is the current platform to be on for most relevance, I think it's switching more to Threads. I do need to get on Threads, but I would very much like to see Blue Sky end up becoming big. Speaking of Blue Sky, I have a code. I actually have a code to give away. What a perfect way to end this segment. Let's end this segment by giving away a free Blue Sky code. What do you guys think of that? I feel like that'd be super fun. Everybody, get your shit ready to receive the Blue Sky code. It's first come, first serve. I'm going to be airdropping it in chat, so the first person to enter it is the person who gets it. You got to be fast. So I'm going to begin the countdown so everybody has as much time as possible. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's the blue sky code. Let's see who redeems it. Make sure to follow me on Blue Sky too. Congratulations to someone. What is Blue Sky? The best Twitter alternative there is. Xander Hall deserves to be a member of the LGBT community for all he's done to promote the LGBT CIA agenda. We should petition to have Xander Hall officially labeled an ally against his will if need be. It would be against my will. And mandate the A is for ally. Us asexuals will happily make the sacrifice for Xan. I've never wanted to commit a hate crime more than hearing you say that. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Never say anything like that again. Never say anything like that again, please, Crafter Lula. Thank you for that, though. Yeah, it is now the LGBTQIX community, and the X stands for Xander Hall. Let's see who followed me. The Weropean 2312. Welcome. Welcome to Blue Sky. Thank you for the follow. Wait, are you... Wait, no, you're not the one who followed me, right? Because it would say that you used my code. So yeah, it's actually not even... That's not even the person who used my code. That's just someone who just followed me. It says code invalid, so someone used the code. Oh yeah, it was. Okay, there we go. Yeah, the Weropean was the one who used the invite code. Yep. Congratulations. I'm sure I will get more codes soon. It's just that, you know, it takes time for them to generate. I got 2 very quickly back-to-back, though, most recently. So I wonder if you get, like, more quicker the longer you are on the site. But yeah. Definitely recommend getting into Blue Sky. It is without a doubt the best Twitter alternative there is right now, and I cannot wait to watch Twitter crash and burn. Crash and fucking burn. It's even funnier that they're going to crash and burn after stealing my logo. This is what you get. This is what you get for trying to plagiarize from me, Elon. You tried to take me off the site so I wouldn't be able to talk about it, but here I am. I'm still talking about it, Elon. You can't stop me here. This is my platform. What did you guys think of that segment? I feel like that was a good surprise segment. I didn't even know about that. Thank you guys for telling me. That is true. Twitter does have some good porn. I had my friend Ethan over and I was scrolling through Twitter and he was like sitting behind me and he said, Jesus, dude, you have a gooner timeline. And it was because I just follow and like I am mutuals, like mutual following back then with so many like OnlyFans girls and like porn stars at the time. And so I just had like, each of them would post like 12 posts a day. And so my timeline was flooded with as my friend said, gooner shit. Why is chat blurred in the beginning and end of segments? So I can afford to pay rent, Tyranator. YouTube scans any text on screen and just fucking demonetizes me, like, for anything on there that's, like, not monetizable. And so I have to have it, like, blurred at the beginning of segments and the end, because that's where they scan the most. We are very monetizable, chat. True. Porn Twitter users are literally the only tolerable Twitter users. True. I almost forgot to follow you on Blue Sky. Get on top of that, goddammit. Alright. Let me take another sippy. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Oh boy, this is some good news. I love to hear stuff like this. Alex Jones could face 2 more defamation trials over school shooting lies by Reuters. So, for those that don't know, Alex Jones, the most famous and popular, most viewed and well-funded conspiracy theorist of all time. His biggest claim to fame is arguing that the Sandy Hook mass shooting, it was a school shooting, was actually a false flag, basically done by the Democrats to try and make guns less popular in the United States and to make gun reform or gun control more popular in the United States. It's a pretty deranged conspiracy theory, especially when you consider the fact that there generally aren't actually false flag mass shootings on schools done by the U.S. government ever to be proven to have happened by any verifiable source whatsoever. You would think that, like, Snowden or something, I don't know, like some whistleblower would have leaked that by now with some actual credible evidence, but no, there is none. It's just Alex Jones and his general conspiracy ramblings. But the problem is, to Alex Jones at the time, I think him claiming that the Sandy Hook shooting was just a false flag to make guns less popular in the United States probably seemed like a very harmless and easy lie to tell for his grift at the time, right? Like, yeah, I'll just, get my audience believing this is another fake event, another false flag, and I'll make money off of it, and that'll be all good, right? I think that's what he thought was probably going to happen. But if you tell an audience of raging lunatics that watch Alex Jones and take him seriously, that the Democrats just faked the murder of a bunch of children and paid a bunch of crisis actors to pretend to be the grieving parents of said dead children or the surviving children of the shooting, then naturally your massive audience of psychotic conspiracy theorists are going to harass those people. And so what ended up happening was, for over a decade now, Alex Jones fans have been harassing, sending death threats, and forcing to basically upend the lives of many of the survivors of Sandy Hook and many of the families of the dead children of Sandy Hook. So Alex Jones has been sued, and he has lost a lot, and it looks like it's not going to let up anytime soon. He is going to continue to be sued into bankruptcy. The courts have also blocked him from declaring personal bank... I forget what he tried to do. Courts block Alex Jones. Let me confirm what it was. Yep, here it is. Judge blocks Alex Jones from transferring assets outside of the U.S. The courts are actively preventing Alex Jones from finding loopholes to get out of paying his fortune and money to the courts. It's actually really great. Right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones could face more defamation trials in 2023 under an agreement meant to put a price on lies that Alex Jones told about school shootings in the U.S. Jones's attorneys previewed the agreement at a Wednesday court hearing in Houston, telling U.S. bankruptcy judge Christopher Lopez that it allows Jones to avoid further trials if he completes a bankruptcy settlement by August 31st. Jones filed for bankruptcy in December after he and his company, Free Speech Systems LLC, of course, were found liable for a combined $1.5 billion in 2 previous defamation trials brought by the parents of children killed in the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre. Lopez will decide whether to approve the agreement on June 29th, since Jones and his company are bankrupt and the trials would not normally be allowed to proceed without bankruptcy court permission. Jones has said that he cannot afford to pay the Sandy Hook defamation judgments and is attempting to resolve all legal claims against him through a settlement in bankruptcy. Jones had claimed the killing of 20 students and 6 staff members in the December 2012 shooting in Newtown, Connecticut was staged, with actors as part of a government plot to seize Americans' guns. Jones has since acknowledged the shooting occurred, so he's since admitted he was a liar, but he's still defending himself in court, defending his claims in court. Under the new agreement, 3 plaintiffs will be able to proceed to trial in Texas state courts if no bankruptcy settlement is signed by August 31st. The trials would determine the value of the plaintiffs' claims, but the plaintiffs would not be able to collect on any judgments without further orders from the bankruptcy court. Leonard Ponzer and Veronica de la Rosa, whose 6-year-old son Noah was killed in the Sandy Hook shooting, would proceed to trial in October. Jones falsely said that De La Rosa was an actor who faked a CNN interview after her son's death, and a Texas judge found Jones liable for defaming the parents after he refused to comply with court orders in the case. Oh, on top of that, Alex Jones has been horrible in regards to his, behavior with the court. He's acted like he's invincible to the law. Survivors of Marcel Fontaine, I don't know how it's pronounced, who was falsely identified as the gunman in the 2018 Parkland, Florida school shooting, would proceed to trial in December. Fontaine died in 2022. The new agreement includes a placeholder value for Ponzer, De La Rosa, and Fontaine's claims, which will remain confidential during the settlement talks, Jennifer Hardy, an attorney for Texas plaintiffs, said at Wednesday's hearing. The placeholder value would help determine how assets would be divided among Jones's creditors in the bankruptcy. It would determine the weight accorded to the 3 plaintiffs' claims in any future vote on the bankruptcy settlement. Without a placeholder value, the Texas defamation claims could be given far less weight than the defamation claims that have already resulted in $1.5 billion in verdicts, according to Jones's court findings. Oh yeah, one of Alex Jones' lawyers accidentally sent him a full copy of Alex Jones' phone records to the prosecutor, or to the courts. So accidentally, by the way. So Alex Jones is well and truly fucked. He's guilty. Everybody knows he's guilty. The evidence is very strong, even on a legal level. He's done. He's done, legally speaking. The only people that follow him at this point are very, very disingenuous right-wingers and not nut jobs. So I don't know how it harms his ability to just make more money, but he's gonna be bankrupt. That's for sure. And that's some damn good news. I think Legal Eagle also did a video about this recently, right? Let me check. Oh yeah, this is about his personal bankruptcy. Now this will explain in a little more detail what that personal bankruptcy actually entails, because it goes deeper than it's a little more complicated than just not having money.
Alex Jones is now 2 kinds of bankrupt, morally and personally, with hundreds of millions of dollars of nutritional supplement sales to his name, as well as $1.5 billion in legal judgments. The conspiracy theorist now says that he's broke, by which he means he's forced to live on a paltry $10,000 a week that his company Free Speech Systems is paying him now that it too has declared itself bankrupt. Must be rough. But is Jones really bankrupt, or is this all a massive dodge? Or does he just need to take an extra
That is what justice looks like for rich people in this country. Worst case scenario, you have to live a modest life in which you never have to worry about paying your bills again.
Of super male vitality pills and show the haters what's what. Now, Alex Jones had a bad year in 2022. It started off in January when he was forced to testify before the January 6th Select Committee and forgot how to spell his own name. In August, a jury in Texas found him liable for $42.5 million in damages to Neil Heslin and Scarlett Lewis, whose 6-year-old son, Jesse Lewis, was killed in the 2012 Sandy Hook school massacre. And in November, a group of Sandy Hook parents were awarded more than $1.4 billion in compensatory and punitive damages by a jury in Connecticut after Jones called them crisis actors and accused them of faking their own children's deaths to gin up support for gun control. Along the way, Free Speech Systems, the company Jones owns and runs his InfoWars show through, declared bankruptcy. Then, after the second jury verdict, Jones himself filed for personal bankruptcy. But on the plus side, he's probably the first guy to ever go on the air and call the judge presiding over his case a, quote, dwarf goblin.
Even in third world dictatorships, when they have kangaroo courts, they don't have the judge tell the jury, this person is guilty. But she says up there, it's a special case. And they're all caricatures of what you would imagine in some alternate universe of dwarf goblins. It's demonic. They all act demonically possessed. The judge.
He's being anti-Semitic here, by the way. He's making like a reference to Jewishness or something. It's obvious. Like we're talking lawyers and we're talking goblins. All right, and we're talking demonic, and it's Alex Jones. You know he's talking about Jewish people. You know for 100% fact he's talking about Jewish people.
Judge, the lawyers.
Plus, thanks to Jones and his lawyers, attorney Mark Bankston will probably never have to buy himself a drink ever again after his real-life Perry Mason moment.
So you did get my text messages, and it said you didn't. Nice trick.
This is classic.
Yes, Mr. Jones. Oh. Indeed. You didn't give this text message to me. You don't know where this came from. Do you know where I got this?
No.
Mr. Jones, did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up and sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years, and when informed, did not take any steps to identify it as privileged or protect it in any way. And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about saying it. Did you know that?
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment.
So, there were some high points too.
Oh, he turned so red. By the time, the camera turned back to him, Alex Jones had turned so red.
But is Jones really bankrupt? Well, it's complicated. Now, there are several different kinds of bankruptcy, but for today, we're only concerned with Chapter 11, aka reorganization. This type of bankruptcy is for businesses which could be profitable if they could just get out from under some of their debts. And in general, the business owner, known as the debtor, remains in possession of the business, meaning that they run the day-to-day operations while negotiating with creditors under the supervision of the court. In Chapter 11 cases, the government is represented by the U.S. trustee, an employee of the Justice Department, whose job is, quote, to promote the integrity and efficiency of the bankruptcy system for the benefit of all stakeholders, debtors, creditors, and the public. Which means all the things that you think it means. And also that the U.S. trustee makes sure that the debtor doesn't conspire with, say, one of the other creditors to defraud either the government or the other creditors, which may or may
Effectively, this all boils down to Alex Jones is so wealthy that regardless of the fact that he's now been, he's filed for personal bankruptcy, his company's filed for bankruptcy, he's been sued for over $1.3 billion, and he has more lawsuits on the way, he will no doubt continue to live a life that is something that many of you guys could only dream of, sadly. He will probably still have Rolexes, nice cars, a bunker that he lives in and does his show from. He does his show from an underground bunker, for those that don't know. He has an enormous amount of wealth, and the worst case scenario for him is that he ends up living an upper middle class life, sitting on his ass where he never has to work because he's just getting checks. And he probably will still have enough saved up in some way that he'll still be rich. Yep. In America, it's very hard to make a rich person not rich anymore through legal means. It's very hard for a rich person to commit enough crime to lose all their money. They would have to commit their crime in an entirely illegal way, or make their money in an entirely illegal way, and do a very bad job laundering their money. For it to all to get seized by the federal government. It'd have to be a full-on crime. For it to, in a case like this where it's defamation, we're talking about one person suing another person. This isn't even a criminal trial. So especially when we're talking non-criminal proceedings, it is practically impossible to strip the enormous wealth from someone like Alex Jones. He will, however, take a pretty substantial hit from this, and this is no doubt hurting him in many ways, Reputationally, it's hurting him monetarily. Rich people desire to have a lot of money. They aren't just happy having enough money, they need more than enough money. So taking any amount of money from them hurts them. So yeah. Saying you don't understand this has ruined him. He can't run InfoWars anymore, more than likely. He's still doing it, though, isn't he? He's still doing his show. The heir to Dow Chemicals raped his own 3-year-old daughter and got nothing but house arrest, Sanderhall. There is no justice. Uh-huh. Yeah. Do you know who else? You guys remember how a woman accused Donald Trump of raping her when she was 13 years old, right? But the case got dropped after the woman was threatened by Trump's fans. She dropped the case. Do you know who the other person she was suing for that, in that case for raping her when she was 13 was? Epstein. This was back in 2016 before all the Epstein shit was in the news. She sued Donald Trump and Epstein for raping her when she was 13 years old. And then dropped the case after she was being threatened by Donald Trump fans. This was in 2016, well before the 2019 Epstein didn't kill himself stuff. So, yeah. I think it's fair to say the chances are pretty high. I think any reasonable person would see that connection and go, oh. Yeah. These people are evil. They are genuinely evil. And the best way you can tell what they're guilty of is what they accuse everyone else of completely baselessly out of goddamn thin air. They accuse people of being like demonic child raping demons, and it turns out they have connections to Epstein and stuff like that. So yeah, it's the pot calling the kettle black at the end of the day. They throw stones from the glassiest of houses. What do you guys think of that segment? I feel like that segment came out pretty damn good. What are your thoughts? If you're enjoying the stream so far, it always helps out a lot if you guys hit that thumbs up button over on YouTube. Hitting that like button makes YouTube push my content more in the algorithm, which increases my viewership and just helps me all across the board. So every single one of you who goes out of your way to hit that free thumbs up button, I really, really do appreciate it. And of course, if you want to go the extra mile, you can always support me financially by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or Patreon. With all that said, no matter how you are supporting me, even if it's just lurking and watching the stream, I just appreciate you being here, because that's still support. But I would like if you hit that like button, too. Alright. Got another story to cover. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. Oh boy, so this is a story that came up in my news feed the other day, and I just knew I had to talk about it. It's a little over a week old at this point, but I think it's still relevant enough to discuss because it's a very clear indication of how deranged and self-destructive the more insular neo-Nazi radical communities online can be when push comes to shove. The left is known for being in a constant state of infighting, but that kind of inoculates lefties to that infighting. When infighting happens on the right, it causes fractures and schisms that bring down entire cultural movements of online media domination. Look at what happened that destroyed the anti-SJW community back in the day. They were unstoppable up until infighting destroyed them. But here's the story. It's from Vice News. Conspiracy theorists and Elon Musk falsely accuse a student of being a Fed posing as a neo-Nazi. An innocent 22-year-old student became the center of a vast internet conspiracy theory that was so intense he and his family were forced to leave their home. I will show you a picture of this young man here. When you look up this story, there are still several top articles reporting that this guy is an unmasked neo-Nazi, by the way. He is not. This is a case of mistaken identity. It was halfway through the Dodgers game he was attending with his mother when Ben Brody realized some of the worst people on the internet believed he was a federal agent pretending to be a neo-Nazi 800 miles away. Earlier in the day, Brody, a 22-year-old recent political science grad from the UC Riverside, had noticed people commenting on his Instagram account and calling him a Fed, but he thought it was just trivial and would blow over. But while at the June... Yeah, anyone who's like a political science major who's like marginally left-leaning is used to their Instagram getting blown up with Nazis calling them a Fed or something. But while at the June 25th game, which saw the Houston Astros beat the Dodgers, his phone kept going off until he and his mother realized something horrible was underway. Before they left the game, their home address would be leaked online. By the time they got home, they decided they couldn't stay there that night. In the car, I was freaking out and very nervous, very anxious, like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened. You know, my life is over, said Brody. Everything that I tried to work for and all of this just completely gone, and I genuinely felt very anxious and very nervous. I felt like I was going to have a panic attack. I couldn't sleep. I was like walking around and just like pacing because I was so nervous about everything. So as someone who's had their home address doxed before, back when I lived with my parents in Florida, Kiwi Farms doxed my parents' home address. It wasn't even my house. I was living with my parents. They doxed my parents. And I took it pretty well because I knew what doxing was. I was pretty ready for it. I knew it was going to happen. Like, you can't be a lefty figure online and not be inundated with constant death threats and the threat of doxing and swatting 24/7. You're like, the rules of the internet are you're not allowed to be progressive, you know? If you're going to be political, you better be right-leaning. Or you're going to be under constant threat of shit like this happening to you. But this is just some random guy who's fallen into a very unfortunate, like, he is just completely unconnected to any of this, and just, like, because of how he looks, he just happened to be an unfortunate doppelganger. One day earlier, over 850 miles away from where Brody lives, two far-right groups got into a scrum at an Oregon City Pride Festival. So there was a Pride Festival and two Nazi groups got into a fight, in, of course, Oregon, probably Portland. During the hubbub, two neo-Nazis with the Rose City nationalists had their masks pulled off and their faces exposed. The men's faces were caught on video and internet sleuths quickly went to work. At some point, someone found a photo of Brody that looked similar to the man in the video and posted it as fact. Vice News attempted to find where it originated, but was unable. At about 8 a.m. PST on June 25th, that Brody's name began to be shared across Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook amongst some MAGA and pro-Proud Boys circles. After his name appeared, the online right found a small blurb written about him on Instagram by his Jewish fraternity, which... here it comes. Which said he wanted to possibly work for the government one day. This was enough to confirm one of the right's favorite conspiracy theories. Neo-Nazis are federal plants that are there to make them look racist. This is like my favorite fucking thing ever. Elon Musk even pushes this. Neo-Nazis are Jewish feds. Like, basically, they are, what the more mask-on neo-Nazis, more in the line of, like, Elon Musk say, is that full-on open neo-Nazis, like Proud Boys and Ku Klux Klanners, are Jewish federal agents trying to make them look bad. You can't make this shit up. You genuinely can't. I mean, Elon Musk also partook in this, and we're going to be getting to that in a minute. Despite Brody being a young man who lived in California with public ties to a Jewish fraternity who just graduated college days before the public scuffle of the group of conspiracy theorists and right-wing influencers, almost entirely organized and spread by people who have purchased blue checkmarks on Twitter, went to work portraying him as a federal agent posing as a neo-Nazi. Multiple sources with information about Pacific Northwest active clubs, neo-Nazi groups organized around fitness and combat sports, confirmed to Vice News Brody was not the man in the video and has no ties to them. So even the neo-Nazi groups that do their, like, fighting sports, like, workout regimens in the mountains to, like, prepare for the Day of the Rope where they murder all the minorities, even they have, like, said, yeah, that kid's not our guy. Like, you're just going after some random kid. Many of the people spreading the fake Fed information did so under the idea the neo-Nazi group in Oregon City was Patriot Front, likely because Joe Rogan made some noise calling the group Feds last year. Yeah, so Joe Rogan is also, Joe Rogan is one of the most effective, useful idiots for the right in that he pushes conspiracy theories the right believes in, such as, you see this group of neo-Nazis that's doing right-wing terrorism? They're actually Feds paid by the Democrats because the right actually never do anything this bad. Every conservative's actually just a good old boy just trying to live their life and watch some Joe Rogan. That's the idea that these people want you to believe. But the group in question was the Rose City Nationalists, a group affiliated with neo-Nazi active clubs. Almost immediately after Brody's name and information were shared, it didn't take long for the usual suspects to amplify the conspiracy to their millions of followers. Twitter owner Elon Musk replied to multiple instances of false information about Brody being shared on his platform, boosting it to his over 147 million followers. In one case, he responded directly to an article from Zero Hedge, a site well known for its far-right leaning and conspiratorial content. Looks like one is a college student who wants to join the government, and another is maybe an Antifa member, but nonetheless a probable false flag situation, Musk wrote under the article that shared Brody's name and photo. While Zero Hedge has deleted their tweet and walked back their accusations in the article, Musk has not deleted his tweet, which currently has over millions of views. Obviously, Elon Musk has a huge following and it's amplifying stuff, so it definitely made the situation much worse, said Brody. It was terrifying. I'm starting to sort of feel normal now about what happened, but it was just like, it was a lot to take in. I'm sorry, when I read quotes where somebody, like, they're direct quotes and somebody kind of stutters in the quote, it's hard to read it, you know? The Zero Hedge article was headlined, Patriot Front member was just unmasked as a suspected Fed. The article was one of several by right-wing media, and one outlet was even less careful in its accusations and ran a blog with the headline, Who is Ben Brody, the Patriot Front member demasked by MAGA supporters in the viral video. That is the top article that comes up if you look up Ben Brody right now. If you look up Ben Brody, that article, Who is Ben Brody, the Patriot Front member demasked by MAGA supporters in the viral video, is the top thing that comes out about him. His life may very well be ruined because of that. Musk was but one of many who amplified the conspiracy about Brody. He had by far the largest following. Stu Peters, a popular conspiracy theorist who created the anti-vax film Died Suddenly, dedicated an entire segment of his Rumble show to it. Another, a citizen reporter named Alex Shepard, who has over 70,000 followers on Twitter, posted Ben Brody as a Fed and a terrible liar, as is outlined in this Medium article. The spread of Ben Brody's name and face was widespread, and much of the post had a distinctive anti-Semitic ring to it. The Jews are behind everything, one user wrote, posting Brody's face. Some other online figures were using the Fed plant conspiracy theory to do a victory lap to prove they weren't conspiracy theorists. Remember when they called us conspiracy theorists for saying the Feds were planting fake Nazis at rallies? Matthew Wallace, a man best described as a professional Musk reply guy, asked his over 1 million followers in a post about a conspiracy where he shared Brody's social media information. He has still not deleted the tweet. At first, Brody thought it was best not to respond to the allegations because he didn't want to amplify anything or make things worse, but eventually he couldn't ignore it anymore. At the urging of his friends, he made an Instagram post on the account that the mob was targeting, trying to clear his name. He then posted debit receipts showing his card was being used in California on the day of the scuffle, and even went as far as to call one of the stores that he went to and ask for video footage of him in the store. He then posted the time-stamped footage, which matches his receipts, and posted them. This guy responded to these false allegations like I would. He came with fucking receipts. God damn. Holy shit, this guy's got my level of luck just out of nowhere getting hit with this horrible bullshit out of nowhere, but then, like, just bring the receipts to the table. I respect the fuck out of this guy. Literal receipts. Still, though, that wasn't enough for people who were invested in this conspiracy. Of course not. Conspiracy theorists don't care about the truth. One Twitter user, an online comedian named Amiri King, with about 150,000 followers on Twitter, was one of the most prolific spreaders of the accusation. King tweeted out Brody's video and wrote a lengthy post about why he didn't believe the young man. This includes Brody getting the term Patriot Front wrong. Brody looking forward at the camera rather than giving a side profile, and how he moves his hands. Retweet if you feel suspicious, it reads in all caps. The tweet remains up. It wasn't just people that knew Brody who were upset about the young man's treatment. In some of the darker corners of the web, neo-Nazis were annoyed with the conspiracy theorists as their belief they're all feds watered down their impact. Musk Twitter is a massive setback for our discourse. It's a layered psyop making crazy people even crazier, wrote one prominent Nazi. None of these Jews, I assume they said, really believe Ben Brody is the same person. They are writing lies for attention. In the weeks since the incident, the online community that swarmed Brody has moved on to new topics. Musk has since been posting about his and Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg's penis and conspiracies to spread. While the harassment of Brody has stopped, the posts and accusations remain online. The possibility that a future employer will see these posts is a real worry to the recent university graduate. Obviously, I'm more than willing to explain the situation and stuff like that, but just having that label up itself is very hard for employers, said Brody. That is just like a lot to deal with. The uncertainty, the fear. It's true. So yeah. Mark's what? Oh yeah, so Elon Musk has been like demanding that Mark Zuckerberg and him have a dick measuring contest, unironically. Oh, so they're literally just calling all the other neo-Nazis Jewish? Well, you have two sides of the Nazis, right? You've got the Nazis who are very open, proud Nazis on the more like insular, radical areas of the internet, but then you've got the more modern form of neo-Nazism, where the game is literally advocate for Nazism and say and do everything a Nazi would do, but make it an extremes faux pas to be called a Nazi, right? So, like, you'll notice, by the way, it's more of a faux pas online to call someone a Nazi than to call someone the N-word. The N-word might as well mean Nazi online, because if you call a popular YouTuber who is very clearly a Nazi on YouTube, you'll be inundated with harassment and mass reporting, and you might even get your channel false striked for it. Functionally, it is more of a social faux pas to call somebody racist or a Nazi than it is to call someone the N-word on the internet. Zan would know, I'm sure. Yeah, I call people Nazis all the time when they are clearly Nazis, and I end up getting shit for it. I get a lot of shit for it, no matter how much evidence I bring to the table. For some reason, it's almost like you can never actually say what everyone damn well knows is the case, because the game is keeping it subtle. You gotta keep the normies from getting scared away. So anybody who dares to call it how they see it must be pounced on and suppressed and silenced immediately, or the normies might see that and get scared off from the propaganda. Yeah, it can't scare the hose, after all. This is a horrific story, though. It really does tie into the Alex Jones story pretty well, though, doesn't it? The one that we did earlier, about how the right and these conspiracy theorists will just push these lies because it's convenient for them. They'll ruin people's lives just to push a narrative that'll go expired in a week and no one will talk about it in a week, but they'll ruin a person's life just for extra clicks for 1 week. That is how these people operate. It's all about the here and now. Whatever gets them the most views, the most clicks, and the most positive affirmation right now. They don't care what tomorrow brings. And they certainly don't care what tomorrow brings to another person. What do you guys think of that segment? I feel like it came out pretty good. All right. I have one segment left for all of you guys to cover today. We've actually done a lot of shorter segments in today's stream, and I am pretty hungry, so like a 2.5-hour stream sounds pretty reasonable to me. But the last segment of today is going to be a long one. Hey, Holic Master, good to see you. The last segment of today is going to be a longer one, so we've still got a while before I wrap up, okay? Before we start that segment, though, I want to take you guys on a small trip down memory lane. For those of you guys that don't know, I am going to be starting an open to fans who have, subbed and donated or gifted a sub on my website, or supported me through the other avenues, so you're, trustworthy. A whitelisted Minecraft server that is modded and based around the Tropicraft mod, among other performance and visual enhancing mods and other content mods. Mostly the Tropicraft mod. And the whole theme is going to be, we're going to only be in the tropics. We'll spawn in the tropics. You won't be able to go to the overworld. You'll only be able to go to the nether in the end. And obviously, we'll all be in the tropics. You'll die and respawn there. You'll spawn there for the first time. There is no going to the overworld. It's disabled in the server. We'll be in the tropics building a tropical resort beach city. It's going to be really, really cool. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be other YouTubers joining. I might even get Vosh in. I know Keffels might be down. Fods from back in like old school Minecraft YouTube is going to be joining. That's going to be pretty awesome. FAWDZ, if any of you guys are real OGs. So yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. So get hyped for that. But to get you guys in the mood for the tropical beach summer vacation vibe of that, I want to show you guys a video. You see, when I was a kid, I was always, and I still am, obsessed, like hyper fixated on the idea of going on a tropical island vacation. And part of that has always been the idea of growing my own coconut palm. They don't grow naturally in the part of Florida that I grew up in. You had to go real far south, down to like Sarasota at like the northernmost, to find any coconut palms. But you'd really see them in Miami and the Keys if you were to ever see them. But I always wanted to try and grow a coconut, like a dehusked store coconut, from just the coconut to an actual palm bearing fruit my entire life. I always wanted to do that. And when I was a kid, I actually got pretty damn close. I bought a store coconut. I followed the steps in the video we're about to watch, and I managed to get the coconut palm to grow to about 5 feet tall. Not 5 feet tall. That's a little too... That's an over-exaggeration. It was like, in the pot, it was like up to my chin. It had fronds. It was like actually fronds and like a bit of a stump going. Like it actually got pretty far along. But then a hurricane hit my house. I had to give the tree to my uncle. My uncle didn't take care of it and it died. So... it could still be going to this day if it hadn't, been left neglected by my uncle. It had to be taken in during the winter, indoors, to not die. But other than that, I followed the steps of this video, and for literally like 5 years, I raised this coconut palm, and it got pretty far along. And if I still had it to this day, well taken care of and alive, it could be bearing fruit for all we know. But this is the steps that I followed. This is the video I watched, now like 11 years ago at this point, that helped me grow my own dehusked, store-bought, grocery store coconut. I've been considering trying to do it again.
Video on how to grow a coconut tree.
This is quiet as fuck. He's in New Zealand, which is, somewhat climate-wise similar to Florida. I'm going to turn up the volume with a boost here, because it's pretty quiet. But, yeah, this is the video. I've considered retrying this experiment here in Seattle. Even though you couldn't grow a coconut palm here, I've thought about trying to grow one indoors. No, it's not. It's very temperate. It's like Florida.
Today, I'd like to show you a video on how to grow a coconut tree from just a store-bought coconut. This is one that's dehusked off. So firstly, when you go to the store to select your coconut, you want one that's got a lot of water movement inside. You want it to be nice and heavy, full of water. And also these 3 dots here, you want them to have not too much damage to them. You don't want them to be smooth. That's been pierced right through. So things that you're going to need to grow this coconut tree.
These are the actual seeds of the coconut, by the way. Everything else is just a shell that holds the flesh and coconut water that fuels its growth and its germination. So those 3 holes are the actual seeds, and you're looking for those 3 like holes, quote unquote, those dots, those bumps, to be as like in good shape as possible.
Is a bucket, and this is optional, but I'm using a rock as well. So what you want to do is we'll go and fill our bucket up with water. Okay, so when you fill up your bucket of water...
Oh, I did try this back in Palm Springs, by the way, but it was a dud coconut. My first coconut I tried, it's like 50-50 whether or not it even works. You just have to find out. It's a 50-50 though. And the one I tried in California was a dud coconut. The one I tried in Florida, my first one, was the one that was viable. So I'm hoping, you know, I can get a viable one again and try this again. I would love to try to grow a coconut palm in like a greenhouse in Washington State. That would go so hard.
You need to make sure that you use fairly warm water. You don't want it to be too hot, just sort of lukewarm. The reason for this is it will speed up the germination process of your coconut tree, and you should get it sprouting much sooner than if you didn't soak the seed. Okay, so here we have our warm bucket of water, our coconut and our rock. So this is really simple. All you're going to do is just put your coconut into the water.
It doesn't need to be warm. It can be like seawater temperature, like tropical seawater. So room temperature water is perfectly warm enough. I put mine in the garage as a kid. The garage tended to get pretty stuffy during the summer, and I started the germination during the summer. So I just I just went ahead and like germinated it that way. Pretty much. That's just what I did. I submerged it in the bucket, and it did just fine. And yeah, I used a brick instead of a rock, but you know.
And to weigh it down, just use the rock.
What you're trying to simulate with this is that naturally a coconut would fall out of a tree, and it would roll into the ocean, and then float around for miles, like submerged in water, like salty water. And then it would like roll up on shore or like, you know, anchor itself down some rocks or some sand somewhere very far away from where it came from, and then it would be able to root down and start growing. So what you're trying to do is simulate the experience of the coconut floating through the water for days on end. Are you suggesting coconuts migrate? Yeah, just like any seed for any plant does, it has to travel. Every seed for any plant has a different, interesting way of traveling. For coconuts, it's falling into the ocean, floating for a very long distance, then getting washed up on shore on another beach.
Just be careful not to damage the seed as you do this. And you should be able to get it to make the seed fully submerged. So there we go. And now all you need to do is put it in a warm spot for 3 to 4 days. Let it soak. Let that germination start to begin. I'm going to put my seed into my hot water cupboard, so just below the hot water cylinder to keep it nice and warm. So here I have my coconut that's been soaking in the warm water for 3 days, and I'm ready to move.
Highly recommend changing out the water once a day. It gets nasty and it will rot out the coconut if you don't change the water out. You have to change the water out every day and keep it like relatively clear looking. Like no darker than like a very, very, very light tea, because like this soaks out of the coconut and just gets nasty. So change out the water often, keep the water clear and clean, and yeah, you can even add you could probably like add a little salt to it, because it's supposed to float in seawater, and coconuts notoriously will not fruit properly if they don't have enough salt content in the soil and the sand that they're in. You want a proper mixture of like very high nutrient soil and white granulated sand, and like a fair amount of salt in the soil that it's growing in. They're actually kind of a salty plant, and they won't fruit and have properly or have nice juicy sweet coconut fruit if the sand itself it's planted in isn't salty enough.
On to the next step. So all I'm going to do is get my Ziploc bag and splash a little bit of this water.
I'm just giving you guys the advice that I learned, guys.
Not much, just
So you
the
get
corner.
I used a gallon-sized Ziploc, but you would get a big gallon-sized Ziploc, fill like the corner of it with some water, and this is the part that takes the longest for growing your coconut. The most boring part of growing it.
Grab your coconut and put it into the bag so that the 3 eyes are facing towards the top of the bag, because that's where your sprout is going to come from. And what the water in the bag does is just creates a nice humid environment for the coconut to grow.
You're creating a mini greenhouse. A very, very humid mini greenhouse inside this Ziploc.
As if it was naturally growing in a tropical place. So just do up your Ziploc really well so that no moisture gets out, but it does start to evaporate and then go back down, so that just creates the humidity. You can grow your coconut in any warm, dark place. I'm going to grow mine in a cupboard that has my hot water
Warm and
cylinder
dark
in
is what
it.
you're looking for.
And I'm going to place it on top, and this is where the bowl comes in. So place it in the bowl. The reason I'm putting it in this bowl is because I'm going to place my coconut on top of a hot water cylinder, and the bowl will just protect the bottom of the coconut from getting too hot. So do that and you should get a sprout within hopefully a couple of weeks.
After 10, so this is what happened with mine too. You start to see one of the eyes, usually like the third one, like it'll be like the one that's the biggest, because there's 2 mini eyes and there's a big eye, as you can see. You'll see it start to like bulge a little bit. That's what you want to look for, is like one of the eyes starting to kind of like puff out, like almost like there's something under it pushing it upwards, and then it's going to start to crack. Like a little like volcanoes type thing is going to form. And eventually this like white blob, I almost thought it was mold at first, appears through it and breaks through. And this is the first root. This is the very first base root emerging. And then that's going to create a shoot, and then like a little offshoot root. This is like the main base root I was talking about. And this is your first shoot, but these are also going to sprout and like connect to it as well. This is 1 month and 10 days.
So here we are, just 2 weeks from the last photo I took, and we're going to check out the progress of my coconut sprout. So here's my coconut. I've had it growing on a sunny windowsill for about...
So once he didn't explain it, but once the root starts to grow, you want to take a wet paper towel and wrap it around the root, because then the root will be able to absorb the water a lot more efficiently to like supply the coconut. It's not necessary, but it's a nice way to protect the root too. And yeah, it'll help it out.
About a month now, and I wrapped the root up in a damp paper towel just because I didn't want it to dry up, although I have still had it growing in the plastic bag here. So I'm going to go ahead now and unwrap the root. So as you can see, the coconut sprout hasn't grown a lot in the last 2 weeks. However, the root has grown about double the length that it was in the last photo. And also it started to shoot out these little white dots here, which are, I think, are roots coming out of this main one.
Yep.
So they should grow quite long and help the plant get its nutrients. Also under here, you can see that there's another dot, which appears to be another big root like this that's going to come out of the bottom of the sprout. I will be doing a transplant video within the next couple of weeks, so subscribe to my new channel and watch out for that video coming up. Also, if you have any ideas...
Do you guys want to see the sequel, where he transplants the coconut into a proper... into like a pot? Yes, I thought you guys would. I was also hyper-fixated on growing coconuts to an autistic degree, and still am, since I was like 11 years old. I am right there with you, chat. Let me search this guy's channel. Here it is. Growing coconut trees. This is part 2. His update video.
Hey everyone, So I'm finally getting around to making this coconut
I gotta
update
boost
video
it.
so that you guys can see the progress of how it's doing. It's now 8.5 months old and growing extremely slowly. I bought the coconut from the store on the 1st of January of this year, and it's now mid-August. So now that we're in our last month
They grow
of
slow.
winter here in New Zealand, I'm hoping that when spring arrives in September, then with those warming temperatures, then it'll just really crank that growth and start to grow a little bit faster. But I guess we'll just see what happens. So before I show you the coconut, I wanted to bring you in and show you what I've got growing in here. So this is what I've got. Check it out.
Who's got another one?
Another coconut to sprout. So I'm really happy. This one took ages to sprout. It took about 2 months. So, you know, be patient with it. If it hasn't sprouted in a couple of weeks, don't chuck it out. You only really need to chuck it out if it starts to smell bad. Once it starts to smell, then, you know, it's no good. And then you probably need to go and buy yourself another one to try and grow. But yeah, I'm pretty excited that I've got another one to grow, so we'll be able to see how this one does as well. Anyway, back onto this coconut. So I've just made a little slideshow from start to finish of this coconut from when it first sprouted. So let's go check that out.
You can watch the time lapse. You planted it. This reminds me so much of growing mine.
And this is how it looks now. Isn't it so cool? You can see new leaves forming down in the base there, so it is continuing to grow.
When my coconut palm died, it was at about 4 times the height of this. Like, it had proper, like, arching ferns, or like, fronds. And I'd grown it from a grocery store coconut over the course of, like, half a decade. From, like, when I went into middle school to my first year of high school.
The tips of the leaves are looking a bit tattered, but the plant is still nice and green and healthy, so that's all good. If you come around this side, you can see the whole thing. Right the way around. And yeah, it's looking pretty cool. So that is my coconut palm. So I also wanted to mention that I've had quite a lot of people message me, send me photos of coconuts that they've managed to grow. So congrats to you guys. And there's also been some...
Shout out to this guy. This guy is like the reason why I know so much that I do about coconut palms. There's also, if you guys are like not interested in waiting for the time it takes, you can buy a coconut palm and have it shipped to you. Like, there was a website for that. Buy coconut palm. Like, you can buy a sapling. Is this the site that I was thinking of? Yeah, here it is. Palmco. I think they had a video, right? Maybe this isn't the site. Maybe it's Florida Nursery Mart? Yeah. There's just tons of nursery sites you can find that'll ship you one that's already, like, a person height. So if you just want to wait, like, half a decade for it to be ready to start fruiting, and not a decade for it to be ready to start fruiting in half a decade, then, you could also go that path. Yeah. I don't know if... Yeah, I mean, I want to try to grow this in a greenhouse in a cold state. I feel like that would be such a cool project to attempt. That would be fun. That would be fun. In fact, speaking of coconuts, it is time for us to review that contraception debate that Vosh had recently. I've been meaning to watch this, but I haven't gotten to it, and I've been talking about the Republicans' attacks on contraceptive rights a lot lately, so I figured it's actually pretty up the alley of what we've been covering on this channel as of late. Debate review.
Action.
Alrighty. Get this queued up. All right, I'm going to take a quick bathroom break, and I will be right back. So stay tuned and be patient. Hoo-wee, it is a hot day out. All right, I also got myself a little snacky. Little brownie to munch on. All right. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. All right, everybody. So there's recent debate that Vosh did, friend of mine, friend of the show, on the topic of contraception. I've been covering this topic quite a bit lately. Republicans and conservatives, especially with the rise of the red pill incel stuff recently, have been very anti-contraception. My overall understanding of their arguments and their beliefs is that they believe that contraception gives women the freedom to have non-committal sex, which basically means that they'll be able to not... It basically means they won't get married and stay virgins till they get married, and then get married young, which is what they want, right? So it mostly seems to be their perception is that contraception is giving women the freedom to not get married young, and they don't like that because they need there to be lots of women willing to settle for them. So that's my general understanding of what they're mad about and why they want to ban contraceptive rights. And I actually haven't seen a debate where someone's genuinely tried to defend not giving people access to contraception, but apparently now there is one, and I've put off watching this one because, you know, this is pretty relevant to what I've been discussing lately, the Republicans trying to go after contraceptive rights. So let's go ahead and take a look at this debate. It's very, very long, so we're probably going to have to skim it a fair amount, and we're definitely not watching the whole thing, fair warning. But I want to get the gist of it. I want to get the general gist of it. So let's just hop right on in. Oh, look. This little animation.
Believe in yourselves, chat. I muted
That was
myself.
loud.
Hello, hello,
Oh my
hello,
God.
and welcome to yet another episode of WIC TV, a cross-ideological space where we come together to discuss issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. Gang, we got a good one for you today. This debate series is the second in a two-part series sponsored by Rebellion PAC.
This guy looks like Noah Sampson in 10 years. Why does this guy look like literally just washed up Noah Sampson? Look at this guy. Tell me I'm wrong.
Rebellion is a progressive PAC led.
This is Noah Sampson in 10 years, maybe less.
By Brianna Wu, focused on communication and strategic alliances across the political divide. Rebellion believes that we can't solve problems without talking to each other about them, and we strongly support the mission of WIC TV. So here we are, gang. No one here has been paid to be here. No one's been paid to have a position. We're just going to be discussing contraception today. Is it good for our society? Should we legislate it or restrict it through the law and the force of the law? Why or why not? We'll get into it as we go. And I want to start by giving my guests here a brief introduction and a brief opening statement, and then we'll just get into the meat of it. We'll start with Bagels. Go ahead.
Awesome,
All right.
thanks.
Let's see it.
I wrote out some opening comments, but the rest of it should be unscripted off the top.
All right. Let's hear this incel diatribe. I'm ready.
I want to thank WIC for organizing this discussion and giving me the opportunity to talk about this important and interesting topic. I want to thank Eucharist for recommending me to WIC, and I want to thank Vosh for taking the time to talk with me. I was initially hesitant to participate because I'm aware that my positions and arguments about this topic are unpopular. However, in the hope of good faith discussion about an interesting topic and with the advice and support of friends, I'm happy to be here. I should also mention that I'm Roman Catholic and as a result am part of the one last traditions and communities who oppose contraception.
Oh, yeah, you are. Oh, I already knew, bro. That's what I would have guessed.
Said I would resist any preconceived judgments, first about my positions on any particular topic, including this one, and second, that my arguments about this topic are simply reducible to a position of irrational faith or contingent upon the demonstration of the existence of God. My positions on this topic are hopefully fundamentally rooted in the exercise of reason according to a virtue ethicist moral framework and a teleological ontology. Both orientations have served as...
So, he's basically just said, you are not allowed to point out that most of my arguments fall back on because God said so, and that's not a fact or reason-based position to hold. So he's basically setting the ground rule of, you can't point out that using religion as the justification for my beliefs is deranged.
Traditions of thought for millennia without contingency upon the previous theological questions I mentioned. I would also say that I take exception to the title of this discussion, insofar as I do not advocate for forced birth or anything of the kind. I understand that clickbait is how you get views on the internet, and I can certainly appreciate a meme. However, I do take discussions about topics like this seriously and genuinely want to find the truth, even if that entails admitting I've made a mistake or am wrong. As a last preliminary, I would also say that I'm incredibly conscious of the fact that this discussion, as far as I understand it, is between three men about a topic that has incredibly intimate impact upon women. I don't think that this means we cannot or should not discuss the topic, but I do think it's important to retain that fact in the back of one's head. There's a level of existential familiarity with contraception that I do not have that is likely extremely important to obtaining the best point of view on this topic in particular. As a result, I will try to restrict my comments to what I do know, makes the most sense to me, and am persuaded by.
That's at least a nice little virtue signal to throw in there, you know? Like I get it. We're two guys talking about a topic that predominantly is most applicable to women, but like, let's be real. Contraceptive rights are not a women-only thing, like issue, right? The preventing of pregnancy is obviously something that the woman in the scenario, or I guess birthing person, in the scenario would probably be the most concerned about whether or not it's being used, considering that they're the one who has to, you know, create the human being inside their body and then pass it through them. But is it also not a pretty relevant issue for men? Because whether or not the person you're hooking up with is going to give birth to your child on accident is pretty damn relevant to men too, I would say. I don't think this is a woman's only issue by any means.
To state my argument succinctly, I hold that contraception is a particular application of vice against the virtue of charity, or chastity, and as a result is a violation of natural law, specifically as that has to...
Yeah, also many contraceptives have other, like, additional benefits, such as condoms being a very effective way to stop STDs. There are tons of birth control medications, and, like, I'm pretty sure, like, older women can take Viagra to help with heart conditions. Isn't that a thing? Like, women who have, like, heart issues can take Viagra. Usually they would be older, and it'll give them, like, positive outcomes for their heart. I'm almost certain that's a thing.
Do with human sexuality and its telos. Or in other words, contraception is contrary to what makes human sexuality intelligible, coherent, and good as the thing that it is. I would briefly begin by stating something fundamentally obvious, that is, human beings are the kind of animals who make moral judgments. Regardless of how we do so, or the meaning that may or may not be behind our doing so, everyone makes judgments about what is good and bad.
I swear I heard that once. One of the most important
ways we are able to arrive at such judgments is through understanding what the object of our analysis is. In so doing, we consider what the ideal or perfect instantiation of the object would be, and then its function and how well or poorly it attains to that perfection. Those qualities which we identify as useful and effective at drawing a thing in unity with its perfection, we identify as virtues or excellencies, in the Greek arete. This, in a nutshell, is the process of virtue ethics and teleology. We can apply such analysis to everything in reality, including sexuality.
Okay, this guy is against contraceptives because he wants there to be more young women looking to get married young and settle with him. I get it. But could he not, like, do something about his greasy-ass hair? Like, hair management is not that hard. You get in the shower, you hit your head with some hot water and get your hair nice and wet, and you get some conditioner. Or not, I mean, it depends. Like, every, like, other shower, I'll use shampoo, because you don't want to use shampoo every time you wash your hair, or you'll fuck it up. So you use, like, shampoo every other time you wash your hair, and you just lather it up with shampoo, rinse it out with hot water, and then you wet your hair again with cold water. This is the key, okay? You wet your hair again with cold water. Like, ice cold water if you can take it. But, like, cool water if that's all you can handle. Wet your hair with that to cool your hair and your head down, and then take some, like, really nice moisturizing conditioner and put it on, like, a dry hand and just, like, really get that in your hair. Like, just really get it in there. Just get it in there with your fingertips, and just, like, spend, like, 5 minutes just rubbing it into your hair, and turn your hair into, like, a mess of conditioner. Keep that in for the rest of the time you wash the entire rest of your body. Then wash it out with really cold water. Like, wash your hair out with really cold water. And then get out of the shower. That's what I do. And then I always put some conditioner in my hair. Like, right now, after I get out of the shower, I always just, like, put a daub of conditioner in the palm of my hand, rub my hands together, and then just kind of run it through my hair and brush my hair, and eventually my hair dries, and it just generally, yeah, it's leave-in, yeah. It's made for that, but, yeah. You can use a normal conditioner to do that, too. Why does this need to be explained? Because this guy needs it explained to him. He's getting no bitches. That's what enforces his worldview. He needs to know how to wash his hair. Look how greasy it is. I can see it gleaming.
Thus, we can come to understand what sex is, both in particular actuality and in abstract perfection. Then we can turn our minds to sussing out what constitutes what is good and bad with respect to sexuality. In so doing, we identify various qualities or virtues that serve as guideposts to our moral judgments about both particular and general cases.
Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know how to wash their hair, believe me. Like, have you been in public?
Okay, well, thank you. That was quite in-depth, and I'm sure we will get into it in the meat of the discussion. Bosh, you're up.
Yeah, as I suspected, I don't think this conversation is going to be primarily about contraception. It's going to be about morality, chastity, birth rates, human sexuality, and romance. Ultimately, the problem is that when we design doctrines, that we use to understand the world and guide our decision making, a lot of bias goes into the ways in which we construct those doctrines. For example, he talked about sex being an intelligible, coherent, and morally good component of human behavior. The problem is that these loaded terms have been used and misused in so many ways that when I hear it and when I understand what it means in practice, what I think it functionally is PhD philosophy speak for I think these things are good because I think these things are good. There is a virtue that I think is fundamentally good that should be referred to as a driving motivator for human behavior in society, which is freedom. I think people should have the freedom to make the choices that they want. The idea that the state should be used to restrict people's freedoms because of an abstract belief in the necessary coherence of human sexual activity ignores the fact that it has never been coherent. There has never been a point in time where humans lived in perfect accordance with natural law because natural law does not exist. If you go back far enough in human history, you will see behavior which is, by today's standards, certainly for a modern conservative, incoherent and degenerate. There is no point in time you could arrive at by which people would not be behaving by these standards. There's no ideal past.
He's completely right, and he's hitting the nail on the head. What Christians and people like this guy pretend like they believe is this idea that there is a divinely ordained truth to the universe. That humans, when they discover something or invent something, are essentially uncovering, because everything that happens is God's intent. And so we aren't creating anything new. We aren't discovering anything new. We are just uncovering things that God left there for us, effectively, is the idea that he's trying to push. And that humans have just developed a way of understanding what God wants us to do and what is morally right on a fundamental level. While what Vosh is arguing very correctly is that humans are animals, and we evolved higher intelligence and higher capacity for movement and posable tool use than other animals. And because of that, we outbred everything else. We outkilled it. We became the top species. We got smart enough to invent language to communicate. That made us even better. And humans' ability to adapt to things and continuously learn to do new things to get through new trials is what has propelled our species forward, not some sort of divine intelligence. And the moral beliefs that we hold are nothing other than moral constructs that we've developed in order to best help our society continue forward. It used to be, a few hundred years ago, rape was totally legal. It was just totally legal. But somewhere down the road, we figured out, we should probably not allow that, you know? We probably shouldn't allow that. A whole lot of things like that all originate just from us figuring out it'd be best if we just stopped doing this. And the people who figured out it'd be best if we just stopped doing this regressive, bad thing are usually the progressives of that time who end up getting denigrated by the chuds of that time for daring to hope for a better future. And they have, people who've hoped for a better future through all of human history have been called utopian.
No platonic ideal of what we're meant to do when having sex or when engaging in relationships with other people. We have to make these judgments based on modern understandings of what is and isn't harm on an interpersonal level. And I think there's a great deal of harm in both an immediate and in a sort of a missed opportunity sense when we talk about the functional consequence of banning contraception which would be the end to casual sex. And
yeah, killing's a good example. Like, killing happened left and right. Hell, you can even look at the Bible and pull from that if you're a Christian. Like, the first murder happens between two humans in, like, ancient fucking, like, villager times or whatever, right? And like, everybody's killing each other after that point. So it's like, we've kind of developed the idea that, maybe we shouldn't just kill. Maybe we should even have a social stigma against killing instead of, like, glorifying killers like we did in the old days in gladiatorial arenas and whatnot. These are social ideas that are what old school conservatives, and by old school I mean like ancient Roman, conservatives would call the pussification of a society, okay? But what it really is is the advancement of society to a state that you should be glad you were born into. Because if you were born any earlier, you would be born into a worse world. Pretty much all around, other than maybe like climate change and nature.
Reproductive freedom for women. Those are real harms. They exist really and truly and functionally. They hurt people in material ways that can be quantified. Not so with this abstract notion of a coherent idea of sexuality.
Okay, and with that, I guess we will open up with my first question to both of you. Moment. Okay, NBC News has reported an avalanche of conservative influencers on social media who are promoting messages that are anti-birth control. These social media influencers include Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro, Steve Bannon, etc. Now that Roe v. Wade has been overturned, is access to contraception the next legislative goal for these individuals to attack or block? And is that a good thing? I'll let you go first, Bagels. What do you think?
So I would say from the outset that it's not necessarily my position that we should entirely ban contraceptives in the sense that nobody could ever use them or anything, or it's like it created some sort of black market or anything like that. I will say that because of the way in which contraceptives pervert, I would say, the concept of sexuality more broadly, we should limit and reimagine how we think about them. Because I think that contraceptives lead to a culture of contraception, which is opposition to life, or a culture of death. And that is fundamentally detrimental to human happiness more broadly. So I would be in favor of limitations of contraceptives.
Well, this guy's actually insane.
In terms of practical, I mean, not using them for basically any other purpose other than sort of medical necessity. So if there's some sort of harm that would otherwise unable to be prevented, then we should.
Yeah, obviously we would have it for medical necessity. I don't think, I feel like there'd be a pretty low chance of even Republicans being able to get contraceptives that have uses in other medical applications completely banned from any use, no matter the scenario. But this is the same cop-out Republicans use on abortion. Recently I saw, this was funny, I saw this on Vosh's subreddit the other day, and it was Shoe on Head talking about how no one in their right mind should be in favor of a 9-month abortion. Like a month 8 or 9 abortion. And it was like, but she specified 9. And like, so we're talking like weeks or days up until birth. And it's like, does nobody having this conversation not know that abortions don't happen that late? Like literally it would be more dangerous to have the abortion. They just induce labor. They just like if you go in 9 months pregnant to have an abortion, they're just going to say, you'll die if we try to give you the abortion. The procedure's way too dangerous at this point. It's safer to just induce an early birth and do everything we can to save the baby. I'm sorry, it's just too late into the pregnancy. That's how that goes, because it's literally like no one would want to abort the baby that late in either, because of what that entails for them, by the way. Republicans love talking about what later term abortions are like. That's like 7 months in, 6 months in. Can you imagine... and like 5 months in, can you imagine like a 9 month in going through that process where they do the sawing and shit? No, they couldn't do that. They just induce labor. Because at 9 months, there is actually pretty much a person in there. Like, obviously, eggs, milk, and cake batter are not a cake. But the cake in the oven 2 minutes before the oven dings and you take it out to eat is a cake. Even though it's still got 2 minutes left till it's done. That is still a cake. You would still call that a cake. In that same way that like the 9-month pregnancy is still, there's a baby in there at that point. And so they just induce birth. Like there's a variety of reasons why they induce birth. And I see Republicans talking about it like that is a thing that exists. Like 9-month abortions are a thing that exists. They're not. They're like they just aren't a thing that is real. They are a thing made up by Republicans. So yeah,
you would be able to use contraceptives. But otherwise, just being able to have them for whatever reason at all, or even to do something like having sort of casual sex, as Vosh put it, I think is ultimately detrimental to what sex fundamentally is and what it's for.
Okay.
So either this guy's going to argue sex is for purely the act of creating new life, or sex is for both purely the act of creating new life and for building a stronger bond of intimacy with your life partner. So no convenient friend hookups or anything like that. This has got to be somebody that you want to spend your life with, like the no sex till marriage shit.
Well, this is an open discussion, so go ahead, gang.
Oh, happily.
Discuss.
See, the Republicans are gunning for it. After the revocation of Roe v. Wade, Clarence Thomas wrote that the court should consider doing the same for Griswold versus Connecticut, which is the Supreme Court precedent that establishes a right to contraception. We do know for a fact that Republican politicians and pundits and lobbying groups are gearing up for it. The reason they're gearing up for it, of course, is because it's in line with the conservative agenda. It's a revocation of women's rights. A day of trad wives, of barefoot pregnant women who can't work a job. It's a social aim that they're gunning for. But I need to, Bagel, I need to ask. I mean, you say it perverts, that it's a death cult. This is silly. And you know this, right? Not wanting to produce a baby is...
It's a death cult for him. Like for like the average, not average, but for like the most bogged down of incel dudes, they see modern day dating as a death cult because it's for, they see it as a dynamic where all, like 1% of guys are getting 90% of women, and the other 10% are going for like the next 1% of guys, and so like in their worldview, 98% of guys are like scrounging for scraps in regards to dating. And that if the dating world continues on this way and women are still allowed to have sex with guys casually that they choose to without any responsibility of potentially getting pregnant, then they will literally end up dying alone or by suicide, or they'll do what's called lay down and rot. It's a very common incel phrase when they literally just like give up and decide they're just gonna like kill themselves. So yeah, to them, modern day dating is a death cult because they can't get laid. And so they fall to this like Christ pill. It's now called the Christ pill, but back in the day it was called the white pill. You would go from taking the red pill to the black pill, and then you would take the white pill. And the white pill would be Christianity. The meme was like, you took the, like, you'd be a normie. You took your blue-pilled normie, right? And then you take the red pill, and you're like watching Jordan Peterson and stuff, and you're based now. But then you'd realize that truly women are all evil whores, and they're all awful and evil. And then you take the black pill, and now you're just like fully like doomer, like you know the evil, dark truth of reality. And then comes along the white pill or the Christ pill, and then you become a born-again Christian, and you start peddling this faith nonsense as a way of like filling the hole in your soul that you made from like years and years of browsing incel subreddits or whatever. That is this guy's life story. I know it better than he does.
Not the same as death. There's nothing to die. There is no death. Nothing lived, so nothing can die. You might as well say that a society in which every woman is not pregnant at all times is a death society, because there are potential lives that could be made that are not being made. I mean, every masturbation session then is, well, you might believe that. Every masturbation session then would be
this guy's a no-fapper. Yep.
Worship of death, because you're not creating life with the act. And this is silly. People have sex for a number of reasons, and a great deal of it, especially these days, is because it feels good. Why not let...
Hey, chat, where do you think the sperm cells in your balls go if you don't nut them out? They die, and your body consumes them, and they exit your body as waste. So, like, they're leaving one way or the other. Like, semen retention... Like, the semen doesn't build up in your body, like, indefinitely, you know, right? Like, your body, like, recycles it, like, every 48 hours or something like that. So the semen retention thing is literally pseudoscience for anybody who's wondering. Like, the science that actually backs up NoFap is for sex addicts and porn addicts who spend a unhealthy amount of time jacking off. And when they stop doing that, they then start picking up other hobbies and activities in that time that was otherwise taken up by watching porn. And that improves their lives and makes them happier and healthier. Not necessarily the lack of ever jacking off. And this is the big problem with no-fappers. No-fappers and porn addicts have a disease. The CDC and every other medical institution in the entire world recognizes addiction as a disease. Conservatives hate this idea because they hate the idea of addicts having not having 100 million% blame and agency in being addicted and doing drugs and whatever happens to them. They want it to be all their fault, so no help can be justified giving to them. But in truth, every medical institution at this point recognizes addiction as a disease. Porn addiction and sex addiction are diseases. They are. The people who have them might have developed porn addiction or sex addiction, or they might have just always had it, ingrained in them from birth. It's impossible to know. But these guys don't know a reality in which one can healthfully engage with porn and sex. Porn addicts and sex addicts cannot conceive the mindset or the reality of somebody who has a healthy relationship with sex or porn. It's either all in to an unhealthy amount or all out. They either have to be cold turkey clean or they're fully relapsed into jacking off all day, seeking out sex all day, because they have a disease and they need to get actual psychological help more likely than not. It's not something that just not jacking off or having sex and doing semen retention is going to help them with. It's a good Band-Aid solution, but there is no doubt an underlying problem connected to that. And this is why you see so many no-fappers acting as though, they accuse people of having porn addiction. They describe their experience with porn addiction as though that must be your experience too, because they cannot conceive that anybody else could have had a different experience with sex and porn, a healthier one at that.
Them feel good.
Yeah, so I would say to deal with the first thing or the last thing first, the why not just let them feel good. I don't believe that pleasure is.
Zan, it's actually bad for you not to come semi-regularly if you're a person with a prostate. That's true, but your body takes care of it for you. If you don't come often enough, you'll just have a wet dream. That's why those happen. If you ever wake up and you just nutted in your sleep, it's because you don't nut enough while you're awake. If your prostate actually needs to clear seminal fluid, it'll just do it in your sleep. Involuntarily. A nocturnal emission, yeah. I've never had that happen, but apparently that's why it happens. I guess I keep my balls nice and empty.
Some sort of ultimate criterion or has any sort of privileged status in relation to other considerations. And it needs to be weighed accordingly. And so the maximizing of pleasure, I would say, for a lot of reasons that go beyond the scope of this discussion, is not sort of the best way in which to live one's life. And again, there's a lot of arguments about that, but that's a separate discussion. Now, with respect to contraceptives specifically, the idea that we have adopted a technology which is a good thing in its sort of what I would regard its appropriate usage, which is sort of correcting medical issues that particularly women encounter surrounding reproductive health, then in those uses it would be good. When it becomes an issue is when it's extrapolated out into this broad culture of
extrapolated. That's how he just pronounced extrapolated.
People just having sex for no other reason, just to have sex or have pleasure.
Why not? Birth control exists.
That is the core of it. They think that having sex for fun is bad. Like you have a friend with benefits and you bang every once in a while, like, because it's fun. That's bad to this guy. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to do that without the extreme risk of getting your friend pregnant. Like, that's the reality these people want you to live in. No fun allowed.
Controlled
birth.
Sure. So the idea that I mentioned in my previous opening statement was that each thing sort of has a purpose. It has, like, in order to make a determination about what is good or bad about it, both abstractly in general, but then also in a particular instantiation, one has to. This is just how we go about doing moral analysis.
Well, wait, no, it's not, because then somebody has to go about deciding the purpose, and that seems to me like a arbitrary process.
No. So the way that we rationally approach determining whether something is good or bad, rather than just willfully saying, "Oh, this is good and I like this," but to have thought behind it, we have to have some sort of analysis, and there's a variety of different ways in which we do that. But what they all at least share is
what these people try to do is they're trying to faux what's the word for it? Pseudo-intellectualize anti-freedom. They are trying to make it sound like a position that does nothing but argue in favor of taking happily enjoyed freedom from people into this, like, pseudo-intellectual debate about whether or not it's, like, ethical or not. Virtue ethics is cringe. Yeah, I think of all forms of philosophy discussion, virtue ethics is the most pointless and annoying. The only conversation that one can have with somebody like this is one in which you are making fun of them or going over to a debate they had with somebody and deconstructing everything they say piece by piece, which is mostly the point of this. This is less so a debate reaction. Like, I'm less so here for Vosh's arguments, and I'm more so here for this guy's arguments. I want to take apart his arguments and explain why the right is so against contraception, why they're going to be going after it soon. Though it is still entertaining in and of itself. But you'll notice I paused a lot because I mostly want to respond to this guy.
This idea that you have to understand what it is that you're talking about.
I disagree.
And once,
like, this is a hairbrush, right?
Yeah.
I use it for my beard. But if, I don't know, it got buried in the dirt, and got found 1,000 years from now, petrified wood, and somebody thought that it was, I don't know, really good for clobbering people. The initial purpose of this item is irrelevant to the utility that it provides to those who use it. I mean, what is the purpose of an item?
I think stick is the best example. Like, imagine the journey of a stick, okay? Guy picks it up, starts walking through the woods. All right, it's a walking stick now. Really cool. Eventually, the guy falls down and drops the stick and can't find it. Aw, damn. Couple seasons pass. Someone comes by, picks it up, and decides it's, a good stick, and decides to sharpen it into a spear. Now it's a spear. But it's still a stick. It's just got a sharpened end. He uses it a couple times. It breaks. So now it's just it's just back to being a normal stick again with a broken end. Drop it. Someone comes along and thinks, this would make a good broom. Wraps some wicker on the end, and now it's a broom. Like, we just kind of came up with names for things, and hell, you don't even have to transform the thing. One person could see it as a pull-up bar, right? They could put the stick between two branches and make it a pull-up bar. One person could see it as a walking stick. One person could see it as a bat for playing a game of baseball in the woods with rocks, just a little makeshift game. Someone could see it as a weapon for defending themselves. Like, yeah, obviously, like, none of this stuff is set in stone.
A water bottle holds water. Sure, it's marketed as a water bottle. If it held juice, would it become worthless? If it was used as a decorative piece, would it become useless? I don't understand this, because it's like the platonic ideal thing, but you get to decide the platonic ideal. Well, a thing is bad because it doesn't match up with your estimation of what it should be. But truth is, I mean, I don't care what you think sex should be. If it causes pleasure, and pleasure is happiness. I mean, they don't overlap perfectly, certainly, but people do get happy when they have sex, generally speaking. If we're talking about stuff that makes people happier, that maximizes or at least improves human happiness, but it shouldn't be done because there's some abstract concept of what it should be and it doesn't match up with that. I mean, how does that fit? We could do that with anything.
Yeah, so I would push back on you saying that people just arbitrarily decide. Again, which sort of I maintained is
Bath, you cannot stop spitting this virulent hatred in my chat right now. You are a bad take machine. The Iron Giant was, always was, and will always be a hero.
the idea that when we're out living life, we observe things, and we come to just understand what they are at least are generally for. For the example of the hairbrush or the water bottle that you mentioned, yes, it can be used for other sorts of things, but what its sort of primary function or the reason it was created and designed was for holding, in the case of the water bottle, was holding liquid.
What about a stick? Wait, does that mean that a stick, which came from a branch of a tree, is actually a branch? Because its original creation, as it is recognizable, was for the purpose of distributing leaves throughout the canopy of the tree. So a stick is a branch because that was what it was originally made for. And so a walking stick is also a branch because that was what it was originally made for. The spear is also a branch because that's what it was originally made for. This is a stupid line of logic, okay? It's a very stupid line of logic. It's a very dumb line of logic, chat.
Generally, is what you could say. And to say that it has to be water as opposed to juice or something else like that is just sort of semantics to a certain extent. It's trivial.
Who cares what it was designed for?
That's how you determine what a thing is. So like when you're just sort of observing it. So basically all forms of sort of rational thought process, whether it's science to philosophy to...
Listen, I'm trying not to get you guys reeing at me today.
Literature, literally anything. Whenever you're exercising your rational faculty, which, you know, everybody has, you're doing this. You're identifying things and establishing, at the very least. I mean, you're doing a whole lot of things, but at the very least, what you are doing is identifying what a thing is, and then the question that is begged is what is it for?
But the uses of things change. In language, that's a terrible example. Language changes all the time. The words, the prepositions, the structure, the syntax we use today would have been unidentifiable 500 years ago. But there's nothing fundamentally wrong with how we speak today. In fact, our language has only gotten more complicated.
Okay, this is kind of getting off the topic, so we're going to skip ahead to, does casual sex cause harm? This is more in line with what I'm interested in hearing from this debate. Remember, this is literally 2.5 hours long. We can't watch the whole thing. So we're watching the more relevant to the topic parts of the debate.
Do you think that casual sex causes harm? And in what ways?
Oh, okay, yeah, I see. Yes, so casual sex causes harm insofar as it... So, again,
all right,
when we can identify a thing as what it is, and then sort of secondarily as what it's for, we can then determine...
He's just going to explain how casual sex goes against his set of virtue ethics. He's not going to explain any actual, like, real-world way in which casual sex necessarily causes harm. And if he can list any examples of how casual sex can cause harm, it's casual sex without contraceptives. Contraceptives make every form of casual sex safer and better if allowed to be used. There's just, like, every single issue you could have with it is helped by having contraceptives, so banning it would be, or restricting it in any way would be the opposite of solving any problem he could try to bring up.
What is good or bad about it sort of abstractly, but then also in particular. And so the idea that you can have casual sex, that is sex without any sort of connection to its fundamental purpose of procreation and sort of a union between two people, means then, and a significant union, not just something that's sort of trivial, but something that's significant. There's an expression of love or, you know, commitment or whatever else, all the things that we have historically and still to this day.
I mean, it can be an expression of, I think your titties are hot. Like there's like a meaningful expression behind casual sex. Like it could be like, damn, that ass is fire. That could be the meaningful expression. Yeah, an expression of lust. That's an expression of feeling and connection. He thinks it's sinful, but, you know.
It takes sex to mean. Whenever those things are lost, that contributes to getting away from the purpose of sex, which inevitably
you're
does...
missing the harm standard.
I may be too internet brain, but when I hear this shit, I always think they have a pregnancy kink. Oh no, a lot of these people have a breeding kink, but it's mostly the women. It's mostly the women that have the breeding kink.
You're doing the purpose thing again.
No, because and so this is where there's a connection, right? So when we identify what a thing is for, the virtues tell us how good or bad they are at attaining to that perfection.
I don't respect your definition of what sex is for. Like I think that your definition of what sex is for is highly emotionally charged. It might as well come right out of scripture. If you're having casual sex, the purpose of that sex might just be to get your nut off. That's the purpose. That's the purpose that I imbue into the action. Much in the same way that a walk can have the purpose of a brief jump.
Yeah, so he'll try to argue, yeah, but we know that every animal species, they have sex, and that creates more life. Well, no, they're asexually reproducing species. It's always been a thing. There are also hermaphroditic species that can change their sex on demand in order to meet the need to reproduce. On top of that, masturbation has been well documented in nature, so it's not a human-only thing. So if you're trying to argue that humans and nature have this thing in common about sexual reproduction, so that must be what it's meant to do, then you must also accept that our reproductive organs are also made for masturbation. You could also argue, just logically speaking, you can't say any part of our body only has one singular function. It's our body. It's made to do whatever we need it to at a given time, right? Or whatever we want it to do at a given time. For example, our mouths weren't made for talking. Our vocal cords weren't really made for talking. Well, okay, those were made for talking because we evolved those up after a lot of... But our mouths weren't made for talking. Our mouths were made for eating. And then we just kind of made them for talking. So we gave an additional purpose to a part of our body that only had a couple, like breathing and eating. So this logic that there is a specific thing that a part of your body or a certain function of your body is meant to do and meant to do only is very, very stupid and falls apart if you think about it long enough for even half a second.
About town or a long hike, it's my decision.
I mean, that's certainly trivial and shallow, though, right? Because it's plainly not.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite is whenever you get bonobos. This is actually a really good study they did. Not necessarily what you're talking about, Logan Menchaca, but pretty close. I believe it was bonobos. A bunch of scientists did a study where they rewarded bonobo apes, I believe they were, with grapes and other certain fruits that are known to be more liked by bonobos, depending on completing certain tasks. The goal was to introduce an economy to the apes, right? They gave them money, some sort of stand-in for money, and then they would have to exchange it for the food, right? And within a week, the female bonobo apes developed prostitution. They would accept money in exchange for sex. And not only that, but some of them would charge more than others. They would undercut each other because they could recognize the value in getting more volume instead of a higher yield of money per bone. And on top of that, the male monkeys had a certain standard for how much they were willing to pay depending on the female ape. They would literally be shallow and say, "Oh no, you are not worth that much. You can't drop your prices below whatever." They would actually bargain. And there was a tier list among the bonobos of what the most desirable bonobo prostitute was. So in nature, this isn't nature, this isn't captivity, but with animals even, if you introduce the stimuli, the resources to create it, they will develop the same type of social structures in a much more, proto way that we have.
The case that you determine.
Plainly not. So you're doing it again. You keep referring to matters of intuition. No, it's not plainly not. Any action.
It's not a matter of intuition.
Any
it's a matter
social
of rational
bond,
observation.
like a hug with somebody, can have many meanings and purposes depending on what you're trying to do. We were talking about a harm standard, but we've gone back now to this. Well, I think that sex is supposed to be about. Well, I don't. I don't think that at all.
Right.
In fact, and you didn't really have a response for the fact that I think by a fair estimation, the majority of sexual acts committed between humans, not just a majority, I mean the vast majority, were not purposefully to bring about children.
Yeah, and that is also why we know 100% that prostitution is the world's oldest profession. Or I guess escorting would be the more PC term used nowadays. But I mean, we're talking like we're talking about prostitution, not escorting. So like, yeah, when you can like introduce the stimuli into an environment and like apes will do it, and it's like the first job they come up with is prostitution, you can safely say, yeah, humans probably came up with the concept of prostitution first. And I completely believe that. Like, you 100% know some, like, lady human monkey person millions of years ago figured out, wait, the male monkey people are way more horny than the female monkey people. I bet they'd give me food in exchange for sex. And then made that their way of getting by. You know that came about, like, at the start of human history. How do we introduce live streaming to apes? They'll take our jobs. If we introduce monkeys to live streaming, there will not be a single human live streamer making a living. If you could just go watch a monkey live stream instead.
So I would push back on that, but to get to the first thing about the harm. So what I'm trying to say is that the virtues and the perfection are what define what is harmful or beneficial, right? So the whole point is that by being virtuous, by attaining to a perfection as it's been identified, not through the expression of will, but through the observation of the thing and and sort of rational analysis of what that thing is, one is there's happiness or goodness.
Okay, I've got this on like 1.3 times speed, and he's still stuttering and talking too slow for it to be bearable. Do you guys understand? I feel like we've seen enough. Like, unironically, I think we've seen enough of this guy's arguments. Do you guys understand what I mean when I talk about how the right, the ones that are trying to go after contraception, and of course they are going to be going after contraception legally, and your right to, you know, have access to it, they're driven by nothing other than a fear that women are given more and more freedom to not settle each day, and they're trying to take that freedom away from women. It's why they rail against modern feminism, where it's all about, and they go against movies where there's female characters, where the idea is that they don't need to be in a relationship to be a fulfilled person, because they want young women, particularly little girls, as we saw in that recent anti-Barbie video. We watched an anti-SJW video, like it was like a random critical drinker, no bullshit, quartering knockoff channel. Made a video about the Barbie movie being woke and bad and awful and the worst movie he's ever seen. And he says he's horrified that this "I don't need a relationship" message will be seen by, and I quote, little girls. I'll let you do with that information what you will. What I'm safe, what I'm comfortable saying, what I feel safe to say, is that these people are desperately terrified that women each day are getting more freedom to live their lives like men have had the freedom to do for a very long time. And if women have the same freedom to exist in our society and live their lives like men do, then these low-grade dudes are pretty much fucked. Unless they decide to actually put some real effort into improving themselves, not just on the physical level, not just becoming a cringy, like, dorky douchebag gym bro, but actually getting therapy, getting to the root of your mental problems and personality issues, and genuinely changing for the better as a person. That is what these people need most. More than a shower, more than a visit to the gym, they need therapy and some serious introspection about their problems, their personality flaws, and a reevaluation of who they are as a person. That is genuinely the best advice I can give to the vast majority of incels. That'll help you more, honestly, than going to the gym or showering everywhere. I mean, you should shower and go to the gym, but, like, first you need to focus on you, like the actual you in your noggin being, like, not that great of a person, most likely. So look at that, evaluate whether or not you would want to be friends with you, and figure that out. Figure out whether or not the average woman would want to be friends with you. And if that's not the case, then maybe you're the problem and not all women. Anyway. Hopefully you enjoyed this segment. I feel like it was a pretty good one. What do you guys think? I feel like that came out pretty damn good. Tiunafish, thank you for the $20 donation. I really appreciate it. That helps out a lot. I love being able to afford food. You didn't even say anything. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, Lars Barnes, thank you for the $2 super chat, or I should say super sticker, with the hippo, like, nomming down on a 1-up. Thank you, I appreciate it. Fun segment, even though I just caught the end of it. Oh. You literally reacted with the entire debate? I don't think I watched the entire debate, my friend. Being in the website chat is so much better than being in YouTube chat. It really is, damnus. People in YouTube chat should, you know, maybe take that to heart. Women don't be friends with me. I hate it so much. True. So real. X_Trump X in Twitch chat just said, I think that's wrong. We care about preserving the nuclear family, not about women getting more individual freedom. Well, that's what I said, yeah. You guys want women getting married young. Like, you want little girls encouraged to get married young. You don't want them, you want them settling and starting a family as young as possible, and not, like, pursuing their own personal careers or whatever, because you think that's like an ill of feminism. That's exactly what I said. I just melted away a little bit of the obfuscation and the dog whistling. Bait or retardation, call it. 100% real retardation. SMH Xanderhall is afraid to show stream the funny meme. What is this? Bouth, you know I'm permanently banned from Twitter, right? And Elon Musk made it so if you're banned from Twitter, you're like permanently rate limited. I can't see any tweets ever again. Like no matter what, I can't ever see a tweet. Like, if there's a tweet I need to cover for a video, it has to be screenshotted and sent to me as an image. Elon Musk made a change so that you have to have an actively, like, working account in order to see anything on Twitter. It's no longer publicly accessible. I'm not making another account for that sinking and dying site. That change alone is a big hit to Twitter's success. So now you can't just, like, open up Twitter and check something without being logged in, which is a fair amount of Twitter traffic. Just create a new account and stop bitching? Well, you're getting banned for that, because I wasn't bitching about being banned from Twitter. I was responding to somebody sending me a Twitter link and explaining why I can't show it. So enjoy the ban, buddy. I'm sure you think Elon Musk is the free speech king or whatever, but I actually deserved the ban or something for some totally not inconsistent reason. Anyway, yeah, today's stream was pretty good overall, I'd say. Got a lot of segments done today. Thank you all so much for the support. Let me find out who we are going to host today. Who shall I host? Whom shall I boast the host? Yo, what if we built the iDubbbz bridge? Chat, what if we built the iDubbbz bridge? iDubbbz is live right now with 400 viewers. I have 467 viewers. If I raid into iDubbbz and a fair amount of you go in there and say Xanderhall host, sorry, he'll notice. I want all of you guys to actually follow through on this. You go into iDubbbz chat when I host him and you say Xanderhall host, and you be nice and you make a good impression of me so that bridge gets built. I don't have Twitter anymore, so for bridges like this to be built, you guys have to make that happen. You guys got to be the ones to make that happen. So we're going to raid into iDubbbz, who is live on Twitch right now. So go over there, make me look good. Let's get that bridge built, guys. Listen, I appreciate you all so much. You've been amazing today. I love you all. And as always, I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good one.